Doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doo, 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 doo. I had to come early because this bitch started early. What? 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 I'll just wait for a few people to come in. You want to know what I had for breakfast? Do you want to know what I had for breakfast? Or am having for breakfast? And lunch. Well, breakfast. I'm having hot tamales. I'm having hot tamales for breakfast. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's insanity. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Doo-doo-doo. Loving you is easy 'cause you. I cannot sing. I feel like I'm my grandma singing. Maybe I sound like that normally. And I just didn't realize it. Wait. Loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful. And everything that we do, I'm more in love with you. La 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 doodle-doodle-doo. I can try. Anyways, hi everybody. I know you're not here. I don't have any viewers yet. Oh wait, I have 2. Hi. So I'll probably just go ahead and play. I mean, I guess we can catch up when people come in. I guess people can catch up. All right. Here we go. Let's listen to the madness.
Prescription drug prices are even to down. We're doing very well. It's been amazing. We had a big day yesterday. There'll always be transition difficulty, but we had in history, it was the biggest day in history.
He's really happy about the market going up.
So we're very, very happy with the way the country's running.
Really?
We're trying to get the world to treat us fairly. This is something that should have been done 25 years ago, and it wasn't. Should have been done 40 years ago, and it wasn't. But no president was willing to take it on, but you had to. It's not sustainable. It wasn't sustainable. And as you know, without a lot of money being added, which is a lot of money that we could add, the country is making approximately $2 billion a day.
That doesn't make any sense. I looked at the register.
When you think of it,
nobody can back into that
we've
number.
Never done that before.
Nobody can back into that number. He's lying.
And the number is probably $3.5 billion a day.
He's lying.
And that makes us
I know, this was quick.
A very strong country. But
my God, he's lying. He's lying to you.
Howard and some of the people that are working on deals, and
where's the
biggest problem they have is they don't have enough time in the day. Everybody wants to come and make a deal.
Fuck off.
And we're working with a lot of different countries.
Oops, sorry.
And it's all going to work out very well. I think it's going to work out really, very well. But we're in good shape. There's no inflation. There's very little inflation. And I went 4 years without inflation, and I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China and others, taxes in China. But we took in hundreds of billions of dollars a year from China, and we had no inflation, essentially. So we think we're in very good shape. We think we're doing very well. Again, there'll be a transition cost and transition problems, but in the end, it's going to be
oh, really? What's the transition problem?
We're doing, again, what we should have done many years ago. We let it get out of control, and we allowed some countries to get very big and very rich at our expense, and can't let that happen. It's not a sustainable formula. So I wanted to just thank everybody at the table, and maybe I'll go around and ask some of you a little short couple of answers. Pete just got back from Panama, and he's been all over the place. And
he's just got back from extorting Panama.
Whatever else you might have to say. Everyone at this table is doing an incredible job, by the way, I have to say. Incredible. And the relationships are, it's like they're friends. They're really, the relationships are very strong, really good, really strong. And these meetings are very good. And I think, I don't believe there's any other president that allowed the press to come into a meeting such as this. These are very sacred meetings.
No, everyone
These are very
did.
private meetings.
Every single
but
one
we have
did.
nothing to hide. And I think it's good. I think it's a good, we want to be, a word you like to use, Jeff, is transparent. So we
You're
want
not.
to be transparent. And
You're not.
we'll
Nobody
do
can
that by
back into
starting
that
with
$2
Pete.
billion
Go
a
ahead.
day claim,
Yes,
bitch.
Mr. President, we just got back from Panama last night. We were at the Panama Canal with their Southcom commander ships, F-18s, troops, and signed a couple of historic deals. One which is with the Panama Canal Authority, a framework for U.S. vessels, first and free through the Panama Canal.
Right.
And then also a memorandum of understanding with their security minister for the presence of U.S. troops. Fort Sherman is an old U.S. base there, as well as their naval station and air station, jointly with Panama to secure the Panama Canal from Chinese influence. That's something you said, we're taking back the canal. China's had too much influence. Obama and others let them creep in. We, along with Panama, are pushing them out, sir. And so we had a very successful trip there. President Molino, sends his regards, very complimentary of the U.S. as he's a great ally, and I think they want the communist Chinese out, and with our troops there partnering with their forces, we've got
I
a
don't
chance
think
to
he
push them all
said
the way
that.
out, sir.
We've moved a lot
I
of
don't think he
troops
said
to
that.
Panama, and
God, you
filled
just
up some
don't sit
areas that
right,
we used
Pete.
to have, and we didn't have any longer, but we have them now, and I think it's in very good control. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Pete. Very good. Howard?
So, so we've have so many countries to talk to. It is, it's incredible. I think
What is it,
Scott and
Howard?
I'm not
Nut
sure
liquor?
we could ever have enough time in the day to talk to all these countries because they want to talk and they want to talk now, and they have come with offers that they never, ever would have come with, but for the moves that the president
But
has
for
made,
you,
demanding that people treat the United
dear,
States with
but
respect.
for
We're getting the respect we deserve
you.
now, and I think you're going to see historic deals one after the other. And then I'm very excited that within a week and a half, we're going to start with the gold card, and the Trump card is coming out, and we're very excited about that, and
Oh my
that's
God.
coming soon. So very excited.
Thank you very much.
Where's
Good
my
job.
Howard Nut liquor
Linda?
picture?
Well, on a couple of fronts, we have been addressing the issue of anti-Semitism on campuses. There's been some grant
I don't
funding
think
and
she
contract
has.
funding that we've reviewed, and
They're just
some
taking money
canceled
away from
and some we've
universities.
put
It's
on
a
hold waiting for
boondoggle.
that, while we do an investigation. On the other side of
What is happening to
my
his hair? He's losing it.
responsibilities are in having education go back to the states. We're meeting and talking with governors. I was with, this week, all 50 commissioners of education around the country.
Really?
And, because we also want to provide them with tools and best practices.
And how'd that how'd that
education
go?
does move back to the states. Making great progress, great response from the states, and very positive.
I'd like to hear
And
more
what
about that.
colleges? You're holding back $400 million from Columbia,
From Columbia.
$8 billion from Harvard. Can you imagine the money we pay Harvard? They have a $60 billion fund, and we're giving them $8 billion, and we're trying to figure that out. And then they hire de Blasio, the worst mayor in the history of New York, and they hire the woman from Chicago who was a disaster, total disaster, and they pay them massive salaries, and they're supposed to be teaching you government. That's not Harvard. That's not Harvard the way it used to be. So
He
do you have
didn't go to
anything say about
Harvard.
that?
He doesn't know how Harvard used to be.
Dollars you're holding back from quite a few
Yeah, we,
universities that were not behaving.
Yeah, and the other, there's
Oh my
Princeton,
God, I hate
Cornell,
this
others
man.
that are coming in, and actually getting calls now from the presidents of the universities who really do want to come in and
kiss
sit
your
down
ass?
and have discussions. And so we're investigating them, but in the meantime, we're holding back the grant and the fund money.
Oh, okay, great. Research grants. That's what that is, by the
Very
way.
thankful for the House.
Those are grants
voting
that were
for the
applied for.
President's
and won.
budget resolution along with the Senate bill.
No,
Made
you're
a ton
not
of
late.
progress this week
We-
in working with
he
members,
started early.
to ensure that a desire for flexibility in the Senate was not misconstrued as a desire not to slow and do spending reforms. And so we're very thankful for that. And now we can get after writing that bill, getting the president as big a package.
You're going to have
of
to
his
pay
agenda
attention to
his
these
desk,
bills
so very good
next
week.
couple weeks.
That's right. We just got the House vote, and now we're well on our way to getting, as we call it, the great big beautiful bill. It's a
Gosh,
beauty.
if she had only
There's never been a
invited
bill
us
like
on
this one. We're
stage.
trying to get it all into one beautiful bill. It's tax cuts, regulation cuts, and many other things. The border, a lot of money for the border. Well, you're doing a fantastic
Why?
job.
We don't have anything
So,
happening at the border. Why do we need
Well,
more
we just
money
got
for it?
A report that we, as you know, you knew before us. Were you surprised we got the vote? Got the vote, and we're happy to get the vote.
Hate everybody in this
I think we're going to be in
administration.
very good shape. Okay, please.
Mr. President, last year, the Chinese received 1,700 orders for new ships. American shipyards received 5. Under your leadership, like so many other industries, we are going to revitalize and make shipbuilding and maritime great again with these blue-collar jobs. These are
That's
the
what I was
cranes, the
wondering,
ports, opportunity zones, and drive that investment back in. And we have under that executive order and also one to streamline foreign military sales for people that want to buy our equipment, and of course acquisition reform, all just this week under your leadership, Mr. President.
So we're going to be rebuilding our shipbuilding business. We may order, would have to go to Congress for this, but we may buy some ships from other countries that we're close to and that do great jobs with ships, but we're going to start the process of rebuilding. We don't really essentially build ships anymore, which is ridiculous. It's going to be a very big business for us in the not too distant future, but in the meantime, we have countries that do very well at building ships, and we'll be dealing with those countries, and we may be ordering top-of-the-line ships from
You
those
just said that. You're repeating
countries.
yourself, Grandpa.
And within a fairly short period of time, we'll be building our own ships. So
With what?
we'll probably have to go to Congress for that.
With
But,
with what?
We're not going to have a problem. Susie, thank you
'Cause he
very much
stacked
for
the
job you've
Congress.
done. Go ahead, please.
I just want to make sure you know that this cabinet, I think, pretty uniquely collaborates and cooperates and works together to accomplish all that you've asked them to do, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for that.
True.
What?
You're doing a great
Who
job.
gives a shit?
The chief of staff.
Oh, that's Susie.
Great job.
Fuck you, Susie.
Go
You
ahead.
cunt.
President, the Biden EPA was strangulating the economy. The Trump EPA
That was
understands
Susie
it's not a
Wiles.
binary choice. We could protect the environment and grow
This
the
is Lee
economy.
Zeldin, the head of the E
Working
EPA.
with Doge and Elon Musk, we've now canceled $22 billion worth of grants, and we have launched what is the largest deregulatory action in the history of the country, just in one agency. That's how much of a mess the Biden EPA left us. It is going to end up reducing the cost of living. It's going to create jobs. It's going to make it easier to purchase a car. It will be easier to
Easier
heat
to get cancer?
your home. We're proud of this effort.
He does have a
The
blockhead.
effort that we have is fulfilling the mandate that
Rock'em
you earned
sock'em
from the American
robots.
public. Clean air, land, and water for all Americans, unleashing energy dominance, permitting reform, advancing cooperative federalism, making America the AI capital of the world, and bringing back American auto jobs. When you called me that day asking for me to take this position, I was honored. And you were very specific and clear in what you wanted us to accomplish. We understand our mission, and at the Trump EPA, we're going to make you proud.
Great job. You're doing a great job, and you have a lot of applications for approvals for power plants, which are going to really power the regular plants, and they're going to be right next to each other, because we can't rely on our grid. It's old and it's tired, and it's very subject to being attacked, whether by rain or by bombs
God,
or by
stop.
anything else. And we're letting people build their own power plants, and these are a lot of them being built with the AI and beyond the AI chips, and we're letting them build their own power, and never been done before, and we're going to get it done quickly and approved quickly as part of a plant. They'll have a sort of be their own power company, and it's very exciting. They couldn't believe it when I told them that. I said, we're going to get you the approvals very fast as part of your regular plant. You're going to build electric producing plants, and it's very exciting. And they're able to do it very quickly and very well, and you made it possible. Thank you. You have a lot of applications for some of the biggest plants that have ever been built in the world. These are serious These are serious plans, aren't they, huh?
What?
Approved. We are open for business. Working with Secretary Burgum, Secretary Wright, we are going to make you proud.
Sean?
First off, Mr. President, it's Brooke's birthday today, so she's getting younger, so happy birthday.
Yeah, give her some
to
eggs.
Brooke. I want to thank you as well for the shipbuilding at EO. Again, to build ships, we also need mariners to sail those ships. I was just up at Kings Point for the Merchant Marine Academy a couple days ago, and we have some of the greatest young men and women who are learning how to be mechanical engineers, to rebuild and fix the engines on those ships, but also how to sail ships.
Yeah.
I would tell you that over the past decades, this academy has become, it needs some love. It's been a little bit
Some
dilapidated.
lobs?
We have to invest in sailors.
It needs-
and I appreciate you taking the initiative.
Say.
To be a global power, we have to build ships and have sailors to sail those ships. These are the very people that help Pete should we come into points of crisis to support the military. So thank you for that. Number two, the last administration announced
Yeah.
3,200 projects,
Fuck
big,
them.
beautiful roads and bridges. Most of them are good. But they announced them, they didn't sign a grant agreement.
What?
3,200, so the money doesn't go out the door to build the infrastructure in the
What?
country. And it's fun to do an announcement. It's actually the harder work to put together these grant agreements. So we're doing the work right now at DOT to get these grant agreements done and build the
wish-
projects. Most of
No,
them are good.
I'm not gonna say it.
And they also
Don't
put
say
in
it.
all of this green and social
Don't
justice
say it.
requirements on roads and bridges. We're pulling all that out.
Do not say
and
it.
putting the money toward
Why
the
can't I?
infrastructure, not the social movement from the last administration.
Good steel, right, as opposed to green paper mache. Okay, thanks. Great job.
Sir, first, we are, I would say, more
That's,
than friends.
Brooke,
We've all
the
become
agricultural
family,
secretary.
And, I think that what you have assembled in your vision is a turning point and an inflection point in American history. And so just being a part of that is the greatest honor. So thank you for that. And again, just the relationships here and the honor and respect we have for each other is a reflection of you and your leadership. So I just wanted to say that first.
She has to say
the
that.
second thing I want to say is that on behalf of the farmers and ranchers,
God, I hate these
food
people.
security is national security. We have to be able to feed ourselves. And your idea of using tariffs along with deregulation and tax cuts, but your idea of using tariffs to ensure that we are putting forward and putting America first, no one understands that better than our farmers and our ranchers. But having said that, emerging from 4 years of Biden with a 30% increase in inputs for our farmers and ranchers, with an almost $50 billion trade deficit. When we left the first time, it was zero, meaning that they are hurting. So the period of uncertainty we're in, they know that your vision will move us into an age of prosperity for all Americans, but for my people, for the farmers and ranchers, unlike any they have seen before. And I think they are really, really excited and so grateful for your leadership. But also, you have never failed to say that you have the backs of our farmers and our ranchers. It was the first phone call that I had after I was voted with the Senate. And that message just resonates with an almost an 85% support of you in the last election. They're with you.
What?
Interestingly, the biggest budget driver at
What?
the United States Department of Agriculture is not farming and ranching or agriculture, it's food stamps. And so as we emerge and embark, Secretary Kennedy and I, on your vision of making America healthy again, a massive part of that is realigning and reworking our food stamp program so that it better serves those who need it.
Oh my
And,
God.
Yeah, to the point of getting the transgender, DEI, Green New Deal out of the USDA and realigning is really
Oh my God, I fucking hate these people!
Is it 100% out, would
I
you say?
fucking hate them!
99.9, sir. I'm going to get that last point
Get the
one out.
rest of it
I
out.
fucking hate all of them!
We've got a much different military.
Why did we
Thanks
let
very
this
much.
happen?
And eggs are down.
Why did we let
Big,
this
right?
fucking happen?
wholesale prices.
How come people are
Retail
so
will come.
fucking stupid?
Easter is the Super Bowl for eggs, so there may be a
Oh.
little fluctuation, but no, we feel really good.
I'm
about
so
it.
Right
angry!
here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. I'd echo what Howard said on
Ah,
the that we've got over 75 countries that want to come in, so it'll be Treasury,
Bullshit.
Commerce, Jameson at USTR, and we're putting a
God,
process
someone
in place.
fucking
and as
do
you said,
something about it.
You're going to be part of the negotiations too, because I've had these countries call me up, and the Secretary Bessent, we're happy you're going to be negotiating. I said, well, President Trump's going to be involved too.
Every detail.
Bring
They're
you
not.
the best deal.
They're not even at 70,
on
Badger.
On the budget, it's moving quickly in the House and the Senate, thanks to your leadership. We're also
Jesus
going to have debt
Christ.
ceiling in there, so we're going to get an increase in the debt ceiling. And that will be the done and dusted for
Part of the bill that we just got to vote on today. So.
part of the bill. It'll be done and dusted for 2 years. We won't have to worry about
Fuck
that.
you.
And then
Fuck you.
I gave a speech yesterday to 1,400 small and community bankers, and they were so happy to hear from your administration. And I told them Wall Street's done great for the past 4 years, 10 years, 20 years. It can continue doing great, but it's Main Street's turn now, and it's those small bankers through deregulation, through emphasis on Main Street, your Main Street agenda, bringing back jobs, that is going to power the smaller communities. And then finally, the bond auction went very well yesterday. We had a lot of foreigners show up.
Mrs. Beasley.
The support showing that the U.S. is still the best place to invest. The inflation report, as you said, was quite good. And energy prices are down more than 20% since January 20th.
Amazing.
Great. Very good numbers.
Great number.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Beasley.
We've had some great wins in the last few days.
Ooh, Pam
you were
Bondi.
overwhelmingly elected by the biggest majority. The U.S. Americans want you to be president because of your agenda. And the courts are ruling that you have the authority to determine how the money of this country will be spent. That's what the American citizens
No, that's
wanted,
actually
and
not
that's
how
what
it
they're
works,
getting.
you stupid
An
cunt.
example of that Friday was the Department of Education, that you can determine how the money will be spent. No more DEI. And that impacts every agency across the board.
How can these people be so
On the
fucking
civil side
racist
again,
and
in
cunty?
LRB, we had a big win in the Supreme Court there. OPM, a big win there. But also 16,000 workers there. But also on the criminal side.
Look at how many
the
people we
Alien
got rid
Enemies
of.
Act, we are winning there. And your directive to me was to keep America safe, and that's what we're doing. Whether it's the alien
She always
enemies,
sounds
all
like
of these
that.
gangs, and they are enemies
Yeah, she's
of
a
our
wench.
country. They are terrorists. They are
cunt.
organized crime. They have come here. They are
She
extremely
doesn't care about
organized.
women.
They're
She doesn't
spread
care about
throughout our
anybody
country,
except
and
for
they
her
are
own
creating
dick
terror.
sucker.
And no more under your directive. And that has stopped. Yesterday in South Florida, we charged 11 defendants with $500 million of pure cocaine coming into our country to kill our
11?
kids.
You got
They were
11?
caught. They will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of
easy,
the law.
stomach, easy.
These gang members are going back to where they came, or they're going to an El
No
Salvador
win, just a
prison
wrong court.
at
Exactly,
your
Paul Langan.
directive.
Thank you. They
And,
just
you also gave us a
reclassify all these
directive
as
to prosecute
lies.
the people
Wait,
who
we
are going
need to
after
put the
Tesla
sign
to
up.
the fullest extent of the law. Some of the greatest police work I've seen. We've made 4 arrests. There will be no
Four.
negotiations at your
Four.
directive. They're all looking at 20 years
Woo.
in prison, and within the
20
next 24
years?
hours, you're going to
Ooh.
be seeing another
Ooh.
huge arrest on a Tesla dealership, President. And that person will be looking at least 20 years in prison.
That's
with no
ridiculous.
negotiations.
That's
What?
great. That will stop it. Cold.
That's ridiculous. No, it won't, bitch. No, it fucking won't.
Thank you very much. Lori, please.
Mr. President, accountability matters. That's what we're recognizing. With our partners at the Department of Labor
This
for Government
cunt.
Efficiency, just a few weeks ago,
She's such
we
a
realized there's
stupid
about $4.4
simp
billion
bitch.
in COVID funds that were not used that the state coffers were just holding on to. Out of that, we've returned $1.4 billion back to the state treasury, so essentially to the American people, and we'll go back and claw the rest of those billions of dollars back.
They're taking money
And on
from.
the heels of that,
They're taking money from states.
Unemployment insurance fraud. That trust needs to be whole for the American people. When we need it for who deserves it. That's not what we're seeing. And the numbers that we saw last night, again, exposed by our partners at DOJ at the Department of Labor. Since 2020, over $400 million of payments have gone out already. And when you hear these numbers, apparently in the United States, we have over almost 25,000 people who are over 115 years old who are collecting $59 million. That
I
we
have no
sent
doubt
out
in my
to
mind
people.
there are some weird
Talk
clerical
about
errors.
fraudulent
I've run plenty of
behavior.
databases.
Mr. President,
This is a
28,000
mischaracterization
people
of what's
between
wrong.
1 and 5 years old have collected fraudulent payments at the tune of $254 million has gone out. And lastly, 10,000 people who have not been born yet, 15 years into the future, $69
That's my favorite.
million
Is it your favorite?
And they haven't even been born yet. In one case, they
I
will
want
be
all
born
these people in
129 years
fucking
from now.
shackles.
The United States government sent them $41,000 and they're not born yet. So, under the Department of Labor, those are the things that we're uncovering. I couldn't be more honored to tell the American people that we're bringing back their dollars and we're saving them and returning them to the United States Treasury.
To where?
Also, jobs numbers. Last Friday,
225,000, yeah.
new jobs
Right.
were reported. That is good for the American people. That
It's
is my
not quite
primary
what it
job, is to grow
seems,
that
though.
workforce under your
Okay,
leadership.
then.
So we've kicked off the America at Work tour, and we'll be visiting all 50 states, and I'll be working with my colleagues here to do just that. So thank you, Mr. President. We're going to grow this economy. We're going to keep our focus on the American worker.
So you're finding tremendous fraud, though. Those numbers are really bad when you're
No, they're not.
over 115 years old. And I think you had mentioned the oldest person in our country is 114 years old. That's pretty good.
A woman living in Pennsylvania.
Jobless
but
claims
apparently
rose too, by the way.
there's 24,000 more of them that are 115 or older that we're
I
giving
hope you hear
payments
that.
to.
So we have
Shut up.
24,000 older than the oldest person.
Definitely did.
The unemployment rate
And what are we
ticked
doing
up slightly
about
to
that? How do we get that
4.2%
money
in
back?
March
Yeah, so
from
we're working with
4.1.
IGs to do the
Average hourly
investigation.
earnings grew by
The House and
a
Senate, we had a
0.3%
5-year
month over
statute of
month, as
limitations.
expected.
We've got an extension on that, another 5 years. And so the goal, in my opinion, we should never have a statute of limitations to return the American dollars back to the Treasury when there's fraud. But at this point, we will continue to work hard and double down and return those dollars to the Treasury.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Christie?
Well, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership at the border. For the second month in a row, you have broken the record in the history of the nation for the lowest number of encounters at the border.
Are they just letting everyone go in?
You have said that America's laws matter
Sorry.
and that they'll be enforced, and we're hard at work now to get people to go back home that are here illegally. So the Alien Registration Act has been in place long enough now that those individuals that are here illegally, if they haven't registered, then
Oh,
they
no.
can be charged criminally.
Hell
and they
no
can
is
face
anyone
fines
gonna
up to
register with you,
$1,000
cunt.
a day,
Fuck
and
you.
face
You
deportation
put
if
innocent
they don't
people
go
in
home, and
prison,
they'll
you
never get
bitch.
the chance to come back to America.
You should
So
go in that
we're
prison.
encouraging
I
people
wanna
to
see
use the
that.
CBP Home app to register, and we're working on the resources and funding to buy them a plane ticket to send them home. I went to El Salvador, Colombia, and Mexico, and those countries and others are thinking about setting up programs to support these individuals when they get back to their countries. So when they get there, they'll have housing and food
Excuse
assistance.
me?
And so making sure that these folks have the opportunity to go home so that they can get the chance to come back to America is important.
Wait, what?
It's a very big self
Wait, what?
operation that we're starting.
Thousands of people have already
Yeah.
self-deported. Well, we're just going to, when you had 21 million people that need to go home because they're here breaking our laws, then we need to facilitate that. And I've been working with the governors a lot lately on several different issues. One of them has been on FEMA for recommendations on how to do exactly what you've directed us to do. And then also I sent a letter and communicated with them that they need to be setting up a SCIF. Some of our governors don't have secure facilities to have national security issues. I think one of the jobs Homeland Security has is to give communication down to states, to local cities and communities. And so recommending they get a SCIF, they have secure comms with them at all times or nearby so that they can have national security conversations, and then to have
On
somebody in their
Signal? Just do 'em on Signal.
designated that
Easy.
is their communications
Problem
person. A lot of
solved.
them have emergency management officers, but they don't necessarily have somebody designated when it comes to a national security issue that we may need to communicate with them on. And I think American people need to know that Real ID will be required to travel on May 7th. So those governors have been notified to communicate that at home. We don't want anybody to get delayed and not be able to travel when they get to an airport. And this will also help us bring integrity back to all of our IDs and how they're used for issuing driver's licenses, and governors know how I feel about making sure their driver's licensing system has integrity, because a lot of people use their driver's license to vote. And the backbone of our country and the foundation is election integrity. So we're giving all those directions to our governors and communicating that so they can lead on it as well.
And we're going to work with people so that if they go out in a nice way and go back to their country, we're going to work with them right from the beginning on trying to get them back in legally. Is that right?
A chance to come back.
Why? Why do it that way? Why not adjudicate it here? Why are you why are you spending all this money to send them back home only to welcome them back in? Why don't you just fucking do it now? Oh, because you don't intend to do any of that.
Let them stay in for a while and work with the farmers and then come back and go through a process, a legal process. But we have to take care of our farmers and hotels and
I need
various,
to wait. Hold on.
various places.
The backbone of our country and the foundation is election integrity. So
let's just.
We're giving all those directions.
I want to hear that again.
To our governors and communicating that so they can.
Because it's about what we talked about earlier.
We're going to work with people so that if they go out in a nice way and go back to their country, we're going to work with them right from the beginning on trying to get them back in legally. Is that right?
A chance to come back.
So it gives you real incentive. Otherwise, they never come back. They'll never be allowed once a certain period of time goes by, which is probably going to be 60 days. We're also going to work with farmers that if they have strong recommendations for their farms for certain people, we're going to let them stay in for a while and work with the farmers and then come back and go through a process, a legal process. But we have to take care of our farmers and hotels and various places where they need the people. And we're going to be working with you very carefully on that. So a farmer will come in with a letter concerning certain people saying they're great, they're working hard. We're going to slow it down a little bit for them, and then we're going to ultimately bring them back. They'll go out, they're going to come back as legal workers. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Which I think will be I think it's very important to do. Okay, thank you very much.
That's interesting.
Jameson, I watched you testify for the last
Yeah, he did
couple of days. You're on every night at 3 o'clock in the morning. And you did great. You were fantastic. Thank you very much.
It's just what I like to do for fun, sir.
Yeah, Jameson,
You've been
we
keeping
saw
us
your
very busy.
ridiculous
Last week,
appearance.
You started a reordering of international trade, something that hasn't happened for 80 years, something that should have happened decades ago. And you know that. You've known that for a long time. That's why you have us all working on this. You came into an emergency situation where President Biden left us with a $1.2 trillion trade deficit. It's the largest of any country in human history, the largest. So you declared an emergency.
You mean trade grew over time? Oh, wow.
There's never been anything like what he left us.
Oh, fuck
he
off.
He left us a mess. His
Fuck
whole
you.
administration was a
You
mess.
fucking cunt.
So go ahead.
So you declared an emergency, you imposed a trade action, so now you have a tariff on the world. It promotes U.S. manufacturing, it protects U.S. workers.
Oh, really, Paul?
We've also given room for negotiation during
Oh,
this
wait,
time,
I
so
thought there
we
was
can
no
open
negotiation.
export markets for our
Wait a
farmers
minute.
and other producers and American workers. And this is why the unions vote for you.
You better
This is
tell
why the
Ron
workers
Barra
vote for you.
that.
This is why the families want you to be the president.
No.
Because you're standing up for American workers.
They're going to be
the American
unemployed
community.
in
We've had
3
countries
months.
Come in
Okay?
over the past couple of weeks that represent more than half of global domestic GDP.
I'm going to read the jobs report to you.
To talk to
Yeah,
you and to your,
the actual
your
jobs
advisors
report.
about how to have reciprocal
Paints a
trade.
slightly different picture.
Thank you very much.
Just saying.
Great job. Lovely lot.
Well, thanks to your fantastic leadership, this amazing cabinet, and the very talented Doge team, I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion. And
what does that
mean?
mean?
And some of it is just absurd, like people getting unemployment insurance who haven't been born yet. I mean, I think anyone can appreciate whether. I mean, come on, that's just crazy.
This sounds like a clerical error.
You know, some of these things, people ask.
It sounds like a clerical error.
How are you going to find waste and fraud in the?
Yeah, he probably has horse
I'm like, well, actually, just go in any direction. That's how you find it. It's very common. it's as the military would say, target-rich environment.
It's not funny. They're talking about
so
people's
then we're doing
lives.
a lot of good in an excellent collaboration with the cabinet
Yeah.
to achieve these
There's going to be a
savings.
lot of
And
exemptions,
it will actually
Teresa.
result in better services for the American people.
It's going to be,
and
what is that,
they're gonna be
cacastroc?
spending their tax dollars in a way that is sensible and,
What is
and
that?
fair and good.
Where you just
And
do
your
friends
people are
favors for your
fantastic. In
friends?
fact, hopefully, they'll stay around for the long haul.
Cacistocracy or
We'd like to
something?
keep as many as we can. They're great, smart, sharp, right?
No, yeah,
Finding things that
cacistocracy.
nobody would have thought of. Very computer savvy.
Yes.
He's training his XAI model so that he can get the contract to run the government.
Operational. Hopefully
It's a
in the next week or
fucking
so.
theft.
That'll be very exciting. It's
Really exciting.
That's a pathway to citizenship
Yeah.
into the United States.
I think it's a big deal.
Yep, it's a big deal. Thank you very much. Great job you're doing.
Thank you, sir. Thanks to your leadership and setting the mandate of transparency and accountability across the U.S. government. I'm bringing that transparency and accountability to the intelligence community, first and foremost, to make sure that you and your cabinet have that real-time, relevant, apolitical, objective intelligence to best inform, whether it's negotiations for peace, negotiations around tariffs, the great work that you are leading around the cabinet today. Secondly, working with Department of Homeland Security and the FBI to increase our information sharing to achieve your goal of countering the narcotic trafficking and our ability to go after cartels now designated as foreign terrorists. I met with the National Sheriff's Association this week, being able to work to make sure that the information that they are getting on the ground, that local law enforcement is getting on the ground, is being fed back up through to our National Counterterrorism Center, and that we have all of the federal agencies, state and local law enforcement all on the same page as we are working to make our country safe again. And lastly, sir, as you know, declassification and rooting out weaponization, politicization of the intelligence community is a huge priority.
How about
you know
Signal?
more than anyone else the very dangerous and negative consequences of that. I've got a long list of things that we're investigating. We have the best of the best going after this. Election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections. And lastly, we've been scanning. I've had over 100 people working around the clock to scan the paper around RFK, Senator Robert F. Kennedy's assassination, as well as Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. These have been sitting in boxes in storage for decades. They have never been scanned or seen before. We'll have those ready to release here within the next few days.
That's great. Bobby, how do you feel about that? That's hitting,
I'm very
that's
gratified
hitting
to
close,
hear.
That's hitting close to home, isn't
Yeah.
it? When you
Yeah,
think-
your dad.
I'm thinking about Bobby when that statement's made.
I'm very grateful to you, Mr. President.
Good. And you'll let Bobby
This could have been a
see some
Signal
of this,
chat.
'cause, you know, it's
2
personal
weeks.
stuff.
It'll come out with the medical plan, the
But it's
Obamacare
time.
replacement.
I've asked him, and his response is, put it out. The world needs to know the truth.
And his uncle that's been out, and anything that hasn't been out, they can go to your offices and see, right?
Everything that we have within our possession, it's either online or it's physically at the National Archives and Records Agency. We
I'm
also
sick to my
have
stomach.
hunters going out, Mr. President, and looking in the storage lockers at FBI and CIA and other agencies, specifically to find.
And look at
if
Ben
there
Franklin
if
looking
there's
at Tulsi.
anything else that has not been reported. We're actively going out and trying to search out the
Wait, I need a picture of that.
Yeah, we will
Don't
be
go away from
getting
that
it
yet.
all out.
Okay, good.
100% good. Thank you very much. Good job, Tulsi.
Mr. President, on behalf of America's manufacturers, I want to thank you for standing up to the Chinese
Kelly.
Communist Party and fighting for our
Kelly.
main streets, for our workers, and for those who do things in America. I'm out on a Made in America manufacturing tour, and as I go across the country, people are grateful to have a president who's not just fighting on the tariffs fronts, but to get inflation down, to create jobs. After Biden destroyed 110,000 manufacturing jobs in just his
Okay,
last
we've
year,
already been
he's
over the
already brought back
manufacturing jobs
thousands and
numbers,
thousands
so
of
go
manufacturing
fuck
jobs.
yourself, Kelly. You're
American workers
lying.
grateful. Main Street
You are
is
lying,
grateful
bitch.
for you. And at the agency level, we're making sure that manufacturers have access to the capital they need, but we can't do that if we're not fighting fraud. So we've modified our loan applications to have citizenship verification, to make sure we have birth dates, common sense principles around
I'm kind of tempted to do one with Ben by himself.
They waived $450 million of fees in 1 year. We're restoring that to the American taxpayer. And the American taxpayer, as tax day approaches, April 15th, they need to know that this cabinet, this administration,
Kelly the
and thank
lube.
you,
Give her the
Elon Musk and
lube.
Doge, for fighting for the American
And
taxpayer.
she's got great.
to make
That's
sure
a
that
great
their
set of
hard-earned
extensions, though. I'm going
dollars
to tell you
are
that right
well
now. That
spent, that
bitch
they have
is
a return on investment for
packed
this
with
country,
extensions.
and that we're fighting for them just as you
I
are.
love this Ben Franklin face, though.
Mr. President,
Yeah, Kelly, the OG
we are
inside
working
trader.
at HHS to advance your agenda to make America healthy again.
He's going.
I'm working
Can I just
with-
tell you? He's going from state to state, making governors restrict what people can use their EBT for. That is what this douche whistle is doing right now. I've watched him in a number of states where he goes from state to state and he talks to legislatures because he wants all the states to pass restrictions on what people who are on food stamps, aka EBT, can purchase. That is gross. The fact that these douchebags, these Nazis, would tell anyone what they can spend their money on is disgusting to me.
Please, Eldon,
But murder isn't legal.
To reassess the fluoride rules based upon the August release by the National Toxicity Program of new science that shows a direct inverse correlation between exposure to fluoride and IQ loss.
That's no
particularly in
Amazon hair,
children.
let me tell you.
Lee and I were in Utah this week, to announce that Utah became the first state in the country to ban supplemental fluoride. I'm working with Brooke on and governors now in 24 states who are advancing MAHA legislation to get soda pops off of the food stamp program, off the SNAP program. We've launched Operation Stork Speed to get the bad chemicals out of baby formula. We're working with governors across the country to get good food
Isn't that
into
regulation?
the school lunch programs and to get rid of food chemical dyes and other bad chemicals that are in our food.
Doesn't that take
We've shown now that
regulations?
this directly affects academic performance, violence in the schools, and mental health, as well as physical health. We are working with governors across the country to get cell-to-cell or bell-to-bell legislation to restrict the use of cell phones in schools, which again dramatically impacts academic performance. Today we
I
announced
don't disagree, but it feels
dramatic
very
reduction
authoritarian
in
to
animal
take a
testing
device away
at
from a
NIH
student.
and
Okay, I've been there,
FDA.
done
We're
that.
gonna switch
So
over to AI,
I'm just going
which
to tell
we
you,
now
there's a
found
lot of trouble with that.
is much
But I get
more
it. It is a
precise
huge
in
distraction.
identifying the impacts of toxics in various products. We're working with Elon, who's done an incredible job to eliminate the redundancies and to streamline operations at all the health agencies and to recalibrate our trajectory to your agenda of making America healthy again. And finally, on the CDC has done an amazing job at getting the measles outbreak under control. We have about 680 cases now in 22 states, compared to the same outbreak in Europe, which is 127,000 cases and 37 deaths. Our numbers in this country have now plateaued. And I want to thank CDC.
They've plateaued?
For that. And we're trying to refocus the press. We've had 3 measles deaths in this country over 20 years. And we're trying to refocus the press to get them to pay attention to the chronic disease epidemic as you've asked us to. We have now 38% of American youth are pre-diabetic. This was unknown 30 years ago. Every child that becomes diabetic, there should be a headline about them. We have 100 million adults who are pre-diabetic or diabetic. And we have, we have now, the autism rates have gone from Now, most recent numbers we think are going to be about 1 in 31, 1 in 12, so they're going up again from 1 in 10,000 when I was a kid. And we are going, at your direction, we are going to know by September. We've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic.
What?
We'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
What?
Think of that. So it was 1 in 10,000 children had autism, and now it's 1 in 31.
It's
Not
because we
31,000,
diagnose
31.
better.
That is it.
That's because we diagnose better.
And there's got to be something
Oh my
artificial out there
God.
that's doing this. So
Is
you
it
think you're
really
gonna have a
this
pretty good
dumb?
idea?
We will know by September.
Is it really
There will be
this
no bigger
dumb?
news
We're
conference than
spending
that.
money
So
on that?
That's it. If you can come up with that answer.
We're
where
spending money
you
on
stop
that?
taking something, you stop eating something, or maybe it's a shot, but something's causing it. It can't be from 10,000.
It's because we
can you
test
imagine that
more.
number? That's a big,
What?
That's a big number. Thank you very much. You're doing great.
Get TikTok out of the formula. Get TikTok out of the baby
Mr.
food.
President, one of your primary administration goals is to make sure that we unleash American
Doug
energy.
Burgum,
And of
the
course,
billionaire.
strategy
Thank God you
behind
have
that is
money,
when we
Doug,
do
because
that,
you got nothing
it
else
helps
going
make
for
it
you.
More affordable
Let me
for all
tell you.
Americans. Energy isn't just industry; it is the foundation of every other industry, whether it's food, manufacturing,
Yeah, we know.
Clothing, transportation. And then
Oh, I have a
also
good
when we've
picture of
got the
Doug,
ability
actually.
to generate and not just be energy independent, but
Hold
energy
on.
dominant, then we have the opportunity to
Oh,
sell
let's
energy
talk
to our
about
friends and
energy.
allies
What's happening to
versus
gas
them
prices,
buying
bitch?
From our adversaries, and our adversaries were funding terrorism and conflicts.
I'm so glad you guys come to watch me yell at the TV.
By their oil and gas sales that were going through a Swiss cheese set of sanctions. So
Swift
with your
cheese?
creation
A
of
Swift
the
cheese?
National Energy Dominance Council.
The Swift
over
cheese?
half the people at this table serve on that. Everyone has been engaged, whether it's interactions with negotiations with
Oh, here
other
it is.
countries, with putting sanctions in place that actually work, with cutting deregulation, working on biofuels, building
Here's
infrastructure for
Here's
transportation. There's a
Doug.
whole range of things.
I took a picture
that
of
are
him
being
yesterday
tackled,
at
but
the
when in
at
the
some
outcome of
signing
all that
thing.
is that you're
Let's just
the
put
Biden
his head on
administration
top
was
of his thing.
restricting supply. You're increasing supply. When you increase supply, then prices start to come down. And we have a huge opportunity to do this. Just in interior alone, there's 500
Like
million
Nikolai
acres
Tesla.
of surface.
What?
700
Elon, tell us what to do
million
about
acres of
autism. You're the
subsurface,
smartest guy in the room.
2.5 billion acres of offshore, and the Biden administration was trying to restrict this so that you couldn't get a timber lease, you couldn't cut a tree, you couldn't graze a cow, you couldn't develop oil and gas minerals, and you couldn't develop the critical minerals we need for our technology, for our defense industries, and to be able to help us win
That's
the
what he
AI
really
arms
looks
race against
like.
China. So we're opening
I took
up
that
this,
yesterday.
and with your
I needed to
executive
use
orders
it
and
for
your work,
something.
We've on Tuesday.
answer is no. I
historic
think-
day,
hey,
you ended the war
hey,
on
listen.
beautiful clean coal.
I think Trump already has a Neuralink implant. What do you want to bet that Elmo talked Dump into getting a Neuralink implanted? What do you want to bet? Or they did it in secret, like they patted him on the back and they just inserted the Neuralink. I think he already did. I think, oh, you have? Oh, okay, fine. Have been saying that since Butler. Oh, all right. All right, that must have been where I heard it. And now Musk controls it. I got hair in my mouth. Okay, anyway, that's what I was thinking.
Coal, which has been going on
It
since
makes
Obama
sense.
took office. China gets 60% of their electricity from coal. They're opening up they've opened up 94 gigawatts of coal in the last year as part of this AI arms race. 94 gigawatts, that's enough for 94 Denvers to be able to, 1 gigawatt per metro area like that. It's unheard of. So what we have an opportunity under your leadership
Ninja
to come
Clay's
back.
here.
The Gulf of
Hi,
America
girl.
had its first offshore lease sale, which is scheduled for later this year. But that was the industry loved that because we're now, the Gulf of America is now open for business again, and there's as
Wait,
much
what?
as 7 billion barrels of oil accessible now. They've increased the upside of what they think that is. On the coal front, the estimate is the financial value of the coal in America is $8 trillion. That was an asset on the balance sheet that we've now being put back.
I don't know,
again.
Teresa.
And of
I'm
course,
not
in
sure where the
Alaska,
implant
with
went.
their
Maybe it
separate
went in his
executive
butt.
orders to unleash Alaska energy.
Could be a butt chip.
Between ANWR, the North Slope, the strategic
Each of the
control
failed
reserve
air
of
plugs is a
Alaska,
chip running in
all of those,
parallel.
we've reversed my decision. Those are all open for business again. And all of this is leading to the investment coming to America. The smart money is coming to the U.S.
Really?
That's why
I think they're running to each other, actually.
Dollars of investment that is showing
Oh,
up
that
at the
right. It
door
went behind
because
his
they know
ear.
if they're going to do manufacturing here,
Yes,
there's
the
going
butt
to be
plug
energy to power
implant.
their plants. And so, again,
Oh,
thank
his
you for
ear,
your
his
leadership,
butt,
and
whatever.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
Okay, Doug.
Well, Mr. President,
Oh,
one of
mealy
the
mouth
most
Marco.
important things I believe you'll achieve in your presidency is reordering the world in a proper way. For 31
Oh,
years, more than 31
reordering
years
the
now,
world, all
multiple
right.
Administrations have allowed the Chinese to deindustrialize this country, to take away jobs and factories and the pillars of our national strength. And what you're doing now, I think, is a great service to our country, but ultimately to the world. And I want to congratulate you and your team that's working on that, because it has extraordinary
There's the team.
geopolitical implications, as you see from all these other countries that are now coming here and wanting to join something that actually makes it's crazy to allow these. I mean, basically, we lived in a world where Chinese companies can do whatever they want in America, but our companies cannot do anything over there. unless
We
they
can't do
allow it,
whatever
and
we
then they
want,
steal our
and we
stuff
want to
and
do that
us and ignore
too.
it. So just reordering all.
I think
of that
I have a
has
Marco
dramatic
picture.
Implications on peace and security of the world. So we thank
I got
you.
to start organizing
Important
these
meeting, thanks
pictures.
to you.
They're
It's
too hard
gonna
to
happen on
find.
Saturday for the first time in a long time.
Oh,
There'll be
here he
direct
is.
talks between Ambassador Witkoff and a top-level leader in Iran. We hope that'll lead to peace. You've been very clear what Iran is never.
I thought it wasn't a negotiation. Wait, wait. I have a question. I have a question. You said it wasn't a negotiation. Wait, what happened?
We're hopeful about that. I would also say that we are receiving, and I think the Department of Homeland Security can confirm this.
My favorite
historic
picture of
cooperation from
Mario.
countries all over the world. Number one, in taking back their citizens. Every country in the world has to take back people that are illegally in another country. And we have countries that
Definitely.
refuse to do it, or we're kind of
He was
ignoring
probably
our calls.
early adopter.
All of them are doing it. The ones that are not are paying a
Hi,
price.
Daddy.
And we've also found
Yes,
cooperation
Daddy.
in other countries that are willing to take some of these people, some very dangerous criminals. I know the president of El Salvador will be here next week. Has really been a good friend of the United States in that regard. These are some of the worst people you'll ever encounter. And
No, they're not.
Pam knows this.
You know what? They're
and
not.
Kristen knows this
Okay,
from the
I
work
worked
we're doing.
with. I also worked with gang members, and frankly,
one last
they're
point
some
I
of the
wanna make, Mr.
nicest
President.
people.
Again, it's under your leadership. It's actually under your executive order. If you
So, you
come to
know,
this country
fuck
as a
you,
student,
Marco.
We expect you to go to class and study and get a degree. If you come here to like vandalize a library, take over a campus, and do all kinds of crazy things,
You can't have an
you know, we're gonna
opinion
get
if
rid
you
of these
come here.
and we're going to continue to do it. So when we identify lunatics like these, we take away their student visa. No one's entitled to a
They're
student
not
visa.
lunatics.
The press covers student visas like there's some sort of birthright. No, a student visa is like me inviting you into my home. If you come into my home and put all kinds of crap on my couch, I'm going to kick you out of my house. And so, you know, that's what we're doing with our country, thanks to the president. And last but not least, very important.
God, Marco, you really
Pam and I were
sucked
very
somebody's
excited.
dick hard,
The
didn't
finest
you?
higher education
You really
institution in
did.
the United States,
That thing
University
is
of
stuck
Florida,
in your
is also
throat.
Now the national champions in basketball, and we hope you'll host them here soon, Mr. President. Go Gators!
They're coming. They're coming.
Good for the SEC.
They're coming, guys.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. You're really doing a great job. We appreciate it. Any question?
Mr. President, can you give us a reaction to today's stock market drop, and also give us a sense of the next steps with China?
Well, I haven't seen it because I've been here for 2.5 hours, so I'll be seeing it. I think Scott went out. Scott, you want to have a statement on that?
Sure. Look, the up 2, down 1 is not a bad ratio, or up 10, down 5.
Excuse
and
me?
I think as we have talked about, as we go through the queue and settle with these countries who are going to bring us their best offers, we will end
It's Mrs.
up,
Beasley talking.
in a place of great certainty over the next 90 days on tariffs. But we had very good inflation numbers today. Oil's down. We had a successful bond market, so I don't see anything unusual today.
And next steps for China, sir?
Well, we'll see what happens with China. We would love to be able to work a deal. They've really taken advantage of our country for a long period of time. They've ripped us off beyond anybody, nobody. How people stood for it, sitting in my position, is not even believable.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
And
can't
we're
even
talking
find
about
Blob
many
now.
presidents, not just a couple. But they did, and All we're doing is putting it back in shape. We're resetting the table. And I'm sure that we'll be able to get along very well. I have great respect for President Xi. He's been, in a true sense, he's been a friend of mine for a long period of time. And I think that we'll end up working out something that's very good for both countries. I look forward to it.
Mr. President, China retaliated today by reducing the number of American films that can be shown there. What's
That's
your
bad.
reaction to them now?
That's bad, actually, for the industry.
From the United States?
I think I've heard of worse things.
No, it's actually going to put a lot of people in the industry out of work.
Yes.
It's going to put a lot of the film industry out of work.
Also on China, the Ukrainians say they have evidence.
So it's actually, it does impact some people.
For the Russians in Ukraine. Can the U.S. verify this? And if so, what does the U.S. plan on doing to China to combat that?
We'll look into it, but I think beyond that, we're really looking to get that war stopped. They're losing 2,500 and even more than that young people a week. They're Russian and they're Ukrainian. They're not American. But
He's been
they're,
saying he only
they're
can
people.
remember a few
And
things.
we're seeing if we can get it stopped. And I think we're making progress. I appreciate the ballerina who was released. That was at the request of a very good friend of all of ours, actually. Dana White called me and he said it's the friend or the relationship of one of the fighters for UFC or one of the fighters. And Dana's an incredible guy, and we spoke to President Putin about it, and they made a deal. They released the young ballerina, and she is now out, and that was good. So we appreciate that. We hope that we're going to be able to make.
Did I miss something?
Relatively soon with Russia and Ukraine to stop the fighting. It's so senseless. It's such a horrible thing. It would have never happened if I were president, but it did happen, and we were given that card. And I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get it stopped. Got to get going. We got to get it. We have to move it faster.
You're not gonna
Likewise
stop
with the
it.
hostages, we're making progress. We, there's 59 hostages, but only 24 of them are living, and that's the way it's been presented to me by the mothers of some of the dead, mothers and fathers of some of the dead hostages, and they want the bodies of their baby, as they say, their baby, their young boys. They want them back as much as
Yeah,
if they
I
were
understand.
alive. It's amazing. 'cause
I understand.
When I met the hostages
You're right,
2 weeks
we
ago
really
here,
shouldn't.
I couldn't believe what they had to go through, by the way. But when I met them, they said, "Yeah, there's 59,
You're right.
but 24 are living," and they actually consider. I guess if you're a parent, you do consider it this way: that the remainder who are dead, the 24 that are alive, the remainder that are dead, they want them back just as much as they would want them back if they were alive. It's really pretty amazing and pretty
He doesn't
sad.
really understand
So,
how that's
we're-
possible.
we're
So
getting close to getting them back. We have a lot came back. A lot of people are very grateful. Some
there's a
came
U.S.
back
Army
in pretty
soldier
bad
in prison
shape.
in Russia. I did not know that.
Some came back. They're okay. I think they're going to be scarred mentally for a long time.
He can only,
Because
if he talks about hostages
and
in
talk to
one
them as I
setting,
have,
Carrie, he just
what
has
they
to
went through
finish
is
the
incredible.
thought.
But we're making progress. We're dealing with Israel.
with
we're dealing
Pavrov.
with Hamas, and it's a nasty group.
Mr. President,
I know.
So
I could do it faster.
How close are you to the first country
Yeah, they're
to
propaganda.
actually make a deal with the United States over tariffs? Is it days, months?
Well, I think it's very close.
I don't know. I
but
mean,
we
I
have to
feel
have
it's
a deal
important
that
to
we
listen
like. We
to,
don't want a
but
deal that's gonna
I
be a
understand.
bad
News.
deal, or
Well,
I
I mean, I think
could
it does.
make every deal in one day if I
wonder if I
wanted
can
to.
speed them up.
Do
I
this
think it'd be
all in
funny.
one
Let's
day.
try
I
it.
could Just say, here's what we'll do. And I was saying to the people before, to Scott, mostly to Scott and Howard, and some of the other
Oh,
people
he's
that work
too
with us
fast.
on the negotiations. You know, we have a lot of law firms that have paid me a lot of money in the form of legal fees. We're going to probably use those firms to, if we can, I think we can. I'll make a contribution to the country, but they're great firms. They're the best firms, the biggest, and really the most prestigious. And we may be using them to help you guys out because you're going to need a lot of lawyers. And I'm not sure Pam's going to be happy if I say, can you send over about 200 lawyers that work on trade? She's
He
working
also
on criminal stuff, and I think
has
that's gonna
he
be her
doesn't
focus
have
more than
lawyers who
anything
are
else. So we'll
willing
find
to
out if
really
we can do that.
fight
But we have a
his
lot of
fights, it
lawyers
sounds
that
like.
we've been reading about.
Is that why he
where they
did
paid
it?
$100 million a firm on average. Now we have
Yeah.
the final 4 or 5 are at $125
I know.
million.
It's
So I have a
it's
lot
tou-
of legal
these are
fees I can
tough.
give to
Like
people, but and we might as
these
well use
events
them.
are really
Hopefully I
tough
won't
to
need that.
cover. Because it
many
is
legal
important to
fees
hear
with
what
that
they
much.
say to clock
Who
it.
knows? After it ends, after
So you can
after
compare
we
it.
leave, maybe
That's
I'll
what
do
I
it, but if I
do.
do,
But
it's not
does
gonna be very
everybody need to
pleasant.
watch it?
So I think
know.
we're going to
Maybe
try
not.
to use these very prestigious firms to help us out with the trade because we have a lot of countries, but we want to make deals that are proper for the United States. Not just we can make deals easily. We want to make them proper.
Mr. President, if you aren't able to reach the deals
All these
that you want to
feelings.
see at the end
Proper.
of the 90 days, will you put those higher tariffs in place, or will you extend
Well, that's
pause?
what would happen. I mean, if we can't make the deal that we want to make, or we have to make, or that's good for both parties, it's got to be good for both parties.
You wouldn't
And then we go back to where we were.
He doesn't know anything.
I
He's
think
not
so.
doing anything, you guys.
Yeah.
He's going from one of these to
what
another,
happens at that time.
saying the same shit.
You said yesterday you were considering some exceptions for companies. Can you talk about what you're considering, and then also on the reciprocal tariffs, so that you substantially lower, is the same math formula going to be used, or is that tossed out?
I'm not considering now for any country or company, but it's possible that I would. But I'm not. We don't have that situation right now. People understand where we are, what we're going to do.
No one's
But it
asking
could
for an
happen.
exclusion.
It's called flexibility. You have
No
to
one's
have
asking for an
certain
exclusion.
flexibility.
President, what are you planning on using the money that you're gaining for revenue through the tariffs on?
Paying down national debt, reducing taxes.
What does that mean?
Creating good budgets, helping Christie with the border and all of the other things. I built hundreds of miles of wall, as people now
Oh my
understand.
God.
571 miles of border wall in the first administration.
Story on Discord. Thank you, Oren.
We're going to beef it up, and we're going to add more. And the numbers are incredible. Really, the numbers are what's taking place.
Karen.
We had great numbers, but these numbers are topping my last administration. And Christie and Tom Homan have done an amazing job. But it's an expensive process. This weekend, where they used to have hundreds of thousands of people standing there pouring through the border in Tijuana, Mexico, this weekend they had nobody. You had a man sweeping this massive piece of concrete, which is, the area where they said massive. And I've looked at that during the Biden administration. You couldn't see a piece of that concrete. There were so many people on it. You couldn't, if you
What are
had
we talking
helicopter
about?
shots, you couldn't see concrete. Now, this weekend, you had nobody there but a man with a broom sweeping it and cleaning it up. Pretty amazing. It's really an amazing job. But it will be used for that. It'll be used for a lot of things. It'll be used by the Department of Justice for doing a great job. Pam is doing a fantastic
Wait, did I
job.
miss
So it's gonna
something?
be
I'm
used
so
for a lot of
sorry.
different things.
Mr. President, on the 10% tariff, is
Was that about Miami or about
That's
Guantanamo?
Can countries negotiate that to bring that
It depends
down?
on what they're adding. Some countries we have massive deficits with, or they have big surpluses.
But what about the ones we have surplus? No.
And
Oh,
others, it's not
Tijuana.
that way, so it depends. That's why it's really they're all different. Every country is different. Some have certain advantages that others don't have, and certain things. We have China has a surplus of $1 trillion.
How is this possible?
I mean, the numbers are crazy. And
Yeah, because
others
we
have
buy cheap
basically no
stuff.
surpluses, We have some that are pretty even, but they hurt us in other ways.
I don't think
and
you
we just
did,
wanna
Lee.
get
You
that
didn't miss
taken care of.
anything.
So everyone is a little bit different.
Yeah, we have a net surplus when you include services.
With the EU as one bloc or individual nations for the tariffs?
We're looking at it as one block.
Really?
They've been very tough, but they were very smart. They were ready to announce retaliation, and then they heard about what we did with respect to China. And
Are you
others,
kidding
but
me?
China. And they said, we're going to hold back a little bit.
You're saying you forced
decided to
Ursula?
hold
Oh
back.
no,
I thought they were
baby.
very smart. Look,
Don't
the
you
EU is
fucking
very
even
smart.
talk about her.
But they really have taken advantage of the United States. They were formed for the purpose of taking advantage of the United States. And I don't blame them, and I don't
It's
blame
true.
China. I don't blame anybody. I blame the people that were sitting at that desk
No,
in that
I-
other beautiful Oval Office for allowing it to happen. Many
I watch these because I want to clock what the administration is saying in public against what then happens. That's what I would like. That's why I watch this. I'm not watching this because they're giving me any facts. I'm watching this because for me, tracking this in my own way, I'm not asking anyone else to do it, is that I want to understand what the administration is saying, and then I can compare it to what actually happens. And for me, that's my jam. That's my kink. I don't know. This is my kink. Media is my kink.
Presidents, I
don't know if he's still
should have
there.
Never allowed it to happen. And
This
I'm
is
doing something that
propaganda.
a lot
They
of
are
them
not
wouldn't wanna
spitting
do.
facts.
But I'm here. I do those things, and we're going to make this country great again. We were taken advantage of by
See,
almost
or to see what's
everybody.
not being
I sat back
reported
in the
on,
last
like
administration.
what was
I
mentioned
would
in here
actually
that's
read- I don't
not
have to
being
read
picked
them.
up by
I
the
know 'em so
media.
well.
I'm not sure I can
I
do
would
anything
read
about
some
it.
of
I'm not
these documents
claiming
that
I
were
can
signed
do
deals.
that.
And I said, who would do a deal like this? Who would do it? You've seen it, Elon.
Yeah.
I'd look at deals where it's so one-sided. Even we have a deal with Japan, and we get along great with Japan, and we had the Prime Minister here. He was fantastic.
Okay, that's
As you
fair.
know,
That's fair.
Abe was great. Shinzo was great. He was a good friend of mine, unfortunately no longer with us. But we defend them, but they don't have to defend us. I said, that
Is
doesn't
Tammy
sound
Bruce
too
doing
good.
her thing?
But we have a deal where a defense deal. We pay hundreds of billions of dollars to defend them. But if for any reason, in other words, we pay all the money. They don't pay anything. But if we're ever attacked, they don't have to do a thing to protect us. I said, well, that sounds like a wonderful deal. So that's just one out of thousands. And I just wonder who did this. And it's people that either hate our country or didn't care, an expression that you use. I think it's really a lot of them didn't care. It's just hard to believe how bad they are. Now that's a little bit of a defensive deal, but I'm talking about trade deals, the same thing. They're so bad, you would say, how come? And even when I'd renegotiate, like I'd go to a country, they'd give me everything I asked for. I said, why didn't somebody ask for it like originally? They give me everything. I think when they were negotiating, they didn't care, or they didn't ask, or they were shy, or they were very stupid, or they hate our country. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
You were speaking about Japan. Can you clarify what your vision is for U.S. Steel? You referenced it yesterday.
Yeah.
There are some questions about what you actually want to see
Sure.
happen
Look,
with that.
U.S. Steel is going to do very well now because of tariffs, and I don't know why they even need a deal. But the only thing is, U.S. Steel, if you go back 80 or 90 years, that was a behemoth in this. That was our biggest, most. If we were around, we would have been very proud of it. Today, we have different types of companies that are big. Google, it's not the same as U.S. Steel, and I love Google, and I got to like the people that run it. They're very capable people. They didn't like me so much in the first administration, but they like me a lot now. I don't know what happened, but I like them. But I think they would be the first to admit when I envisioned. You look at some of
Be
those steel
safe, travel
factories from 90
safely.
years ago.
See you when you get home.
It was a different kind of a country, but they were miles long. Today you see just empty hulks. Those hulks are going to be filled up very soon because of what I'm doing with tariffs. It was a different kind of a thing. But if I didn't do that in the first term, my first term, if I didn't put tariffs on, we would have, because China and others were dumping steel, billions of dollars of steel. Our steel
I
companies
don't really
were
understand the
all
whole
closing.
steel
Every factory. We
conversation
wouldn't have
yet.
one
I haven't
steel
done a lot
plant
of reading
open.
on that.
And now
so
we have a steel industry
I'll have to
that's
figure
doing very
about
well,
out.
but soon it's going to be thriving, really thriving, and those factories are going to be filled up. But more importantly, they're going to build brand new ones. Nucor and so many other companies call me. Nucor being a big steel company, they're building massive new steel plants, and it's great. And likewise, car companies. We have many car companies. 3 of them. I'm not looking to hurt Mexico, and I like Mexico. And by the way,
He
I think
did pardon the two
new president
former
is a
Hunter
terrific
Biden
person,
associates.
a fantastic woman. We've had many conversations. She's a very elegant, just a fantastic person, and she's been very nice, very nice. But I'm not looking to hurt them. But we have 3 car plants that were under construction in Mexico. They stopped constructing, and now they're going to build in the United States because of tariffs. See, we should have never let this
Which
happen
ones?
because whoever it was that was president at
ones?
the time, we lost 90,000 plants and factories since NAFTA. 90,000. It's not believable. How about that, Laura?
Yeah,
You
they're
know,
all
you're
on the
in that
take,
sort
huh?
of world of
Insider
factories
trading.
and
Build back
plants.
manufacturing, construction jobs, bring those workers back home.
That's right. We're going to bring them all back. But think of it from
No, you're not.
that period of time, which isn't so long
No,
ago.
you're
we lost-
not.
I said the other day, if you had a map on a big wall like this, and if you had pins, 90,000, I don't know if you'd have enough. I don't think you'd have enough room on the map to put the pins. 90,000 factories that we've lost since NAFTA. And it's not even, and about 6 million jobs. Really, I think probably a lot more than that, but they say 6 million jobs. We're going to bring many of that back. I think we're going to bring more than all of it back. We're going to bring. We're going to be better and stronger than ever.
Yeah,
before.
we already
But
have 400,000
if a
industrial jobs that are
president,
unfilled.
when
Who's going to
they
work
were
in all those
leaving,
factories?
said,
Yeah.
look, you can leave, but if you're going to build a factory someplace else, and you think you're going to come and sell your steel or your car or any product that you make, your pharmaceuticals, which we're going to do, we're going to get them all back.
Yeah, apparently,
But if
though,
you think
there's
you're gonna
good
just-
reason
all
we
they do is
don't
say this, and they
do
wouldn't have
pharmaceuticals in this country
You know,
because
I
of
said
the
it other
environmental
day.
impacts.
I said it with respect to.
Now, maybe that
I
needs
made a
to
speech a
fix.
year ago, and I told them
Oh
if
my
I
God,
win,
there's just too much.
we're going to charge a
No,
big,
I got
big
what you mean,
tariff
Max.
at the border, and people were thinking about building in Mexico a car plant, and I said we're going to have a big tariff. So if you want to build a car, you're going to have to pay 25% more than the cost of that car. You're going to have to pay 25% tariff at the border. They would have never left. They could have kept everybody.
Yeah,
If a president
that's been a
said,
conversation
"If you
in a
leave
lot
this
of
country,
high schools, actually.
You leave Michigan, you leave Detroit, you leave anybody, any of our
I wanted to
states.
bring back, or I,
me, they're
bring
all
back-
the same.
I wanted to bring in
I love 'em all.
some coding stuff that you could actually get your certification
They say I won
by the
most of
time
them,
you're
but I
done with
probably
high
think I
school.
won
We
more,
weren't
but
able to pull it off
But,
during my time, but I really wanted to do
all you
that
gotta
type
say
of
to the
program
president is,
where
if
kids
you
could
leave
learn
and you think
coding
you're gonna
and IT, get
fire all those
certified in
workers,
different levels
leave all
while
that,
they're in high school.
everything behind, and you're
That's
gonna
what I
build
wanted to
in
try
another
and do,
country
but
and
we
sell it
couldn't.
any, and
We
you're
couldn't
not
make it
going to.
happen.
You're going to pay 50% or
I couldn't get.
100% tariff.
I had some issues with the faculty that
All
were
you had to
trying
say,
to
Marco,
do
is
it. They
all
weren't.
you had to say, very simply,
They weren't
is,
They weren't into
you
it.
don't have to write it down. All you have to do
It's
is
all
say
right, it
it
happens.
verbally. If you leave, you're going to pay 100% tariff. Therefore, don't leave. They would have never left.
What?
They left 90,000 plants. I mean, it's hard to believe that many. It's not you. You can't envision it. So just getting back to your, because I'm the great weaver of all time. To weave, you have to be a genius. To
Ooh, that would be so
Anybody
good.
can do
Yeah,
that, but
America
we'll get back
happens.
to your
That's actually a great
original
idea.
US
First year of law school and high
US
school would be
Steel
great.
is,
That would have been really smart.
big name in this country. It's Babe Ruth is a big name. We have a lot of.
Why are we
big
talking
names,
about
but
Babe
not too
Ruth?
many. U.S. Steel is one of the great names
Oh,
in
I
the
see.
history of our country. And
So what are you gonna
normally
do
I
with
wouldn't
US
mind
Steel?
So much, I wouldn't be thrilled with it, but to buy for a foreign country, and we love Japan, but for a foreign country to buy that cherished U.S. Steel brand, that's hard for me to do. And maybe somebody else may want it. The company Nippon that's involved with it is a big, powerful company who do a good job. But why can't they just build a plant themselves? I mean, why do they have to, take U.S. Steel? So as you know, I rejected the deal. Now they've come back in a different form. They're coming back as an investor. And, I feel better about that, I guess. But, I know them very well. I know the thinking. It's the investor. They'll invest, and somebody else maybe is sitting in this chair, and they will no longer have an investment. They'll have the whole thing. That's the way it works. They're very smart. They're very, very smart people. We're dealing with very smart people throughout the world. Great geniuses, actually. Look what they've done to our country.
Great geniuses.
And again,
Oh my
I don't
God,
blame
the
China. I
State
don't
Department
blame
hasn't
anybody.
started yet.
If I could have done it, if I were in that position, I'd have great respect. I have great respect for the people. They ripped off the United States, and all we had to do.
Can we
was
go
have
to
a
the next
president that
question?
knew what the hell was going
God.
on? And none of those countries would allow.
Can anybody
those
interrupt and
companies,
ask
none of
a
them would have
basic related question, but move him off of this speech?
little lesson in.
Do these
basic
press
business.
people
And
not
it's
know
not basic
anything
business.
about how to
It's not
manage a room?
complicated business. It's
Yeah,
very
State Department is
basic
next.
business.
They haven't started yet, though.
And we'd have every one of those car
They're
pilots
waiting for
going
this
just the way they
Nimrod
were
to
30
stop.
years ago. None of them would have left, but now they're coming back.
We're not. Lee, are they coming back? I know you're on the plane.
Yeah. I think it's terrible.
Oh my God!
I
Why?
just heard it from
You know what? I think
Lori.
he's. Oh! Yay! It's over. Yay! We were behind. Yeah, we were behind. We were behind. I picked the wrong day to quit sniffing airplane glue. Hand him a quarter pounder with cheese. Really. Are you laughing because this also is propaganda? You're right, though. It is. The thing about watching propaganda is that it can traumatize. It can really create. Well, it kind of ended with him doing his little spiel about something. I don't know what. 11-year-olds having Social Security payments or something. I don't know. You have one job. Anyway, so I don't know why this bitch are a bit of less 2 minutes. That definitely is true. But Tammy Faye Rumsfeld is pretty good at making us cringe. So from that standpoint, I don't think she's going to be. I need my propaganda fix. Well, you've come to the right place, darling. You've come. Yeah, definitely. You know what I like about these briefings is I feel like in general, the journalists are a little more serious. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I feel like in many cases, because there's international journalists here in this room, much more so than in the other room, I feel like this is a more value added exposure to propaganda because you get at least a little bit of the intelligence of the international press, kind of asking. Daily COVID rage briefings were his most effective social control innovation to date. Actually, what a great point, actually. Wow. You know what? That's really right. Oh, he claiming he won every state in the election. He got to his part about buying a Tesla. I watched a State Department thing alone once with her, and I don't want to do that again. She's dreadful. Yeah, cabinet meetings are definitely. Yes, no, you are correct. I'm not really arguing with you. I just feel like I almost am compelled to watch, and maybe that's part of the psychic trauma. Is that now I've been conditioned to seek out bad information. I don't mean to. Oh, while we're waiting, I want to look at this jobs report. I wonder if it'll show it to you. Oh, no, it won't. All right, fine. Come on down to Pound Town. Come on down. Come on down. Come on down to Pound Town. Come on down. Come on down. Come on down to Pound Town. Come on down. Come on down. Come on down to Pound Town. Come on down. Come on down. All right, this is the actual U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics job report.
It's no mistake. Marijuana.
Yep. There's not enough marijuana. That's the problem. All right. Let's see. Okay, so this was the jobs report everybody's crowing about, but what I wanted to see was among the unemployed groups. Okay, so both the unemployment rate at 4.2 and the number of unemployed people. Oh, wait a minute. I need to make sure this is turned on. Okay, great. At 7 point, William changed little in March. The unemployment rate has remained in a narrow range of 4 to 4.2 since May 2024. Just a note. The unemployment rate has remained largely unchanged. Okay? Pew, pew. Among the major worker groups, unemployment for okay, blah, blah, blah. Number of long-term unemployed, those jobless for 27 weeks or more, changed a little in March. Long-term unemployed accounts for 20% of all unemployed people. Labor force participation rate changed a little over the month and over the year. Still the Biden economy. No. The number of people employed part-time for economic reasons at 4.8 million changed a little in March. These individuals would have preferred full-time employment but were working part-time because their hours had been reduced or they were unable to find full-time jobs. So there's not overemployment within the people employed for part-time for economic reasons. The number of people not in the labor force who currently want a job was essentially unchanged at 5.0 million in March. Okay. These individuals were not counted as unemployed because they were not actively looking for work during the 4 weeks preceding the survey. Among those not in the labor force who wanted a job, the number of people marginally attached to the labor force at 1.7 million was unchanged. Let's see. These individuals were wanted and were available for work and had looked for a job sometime in the prior 12 months, but had not looked for work in the 4 weeks preceding. Okay, whatever. That's too minutia. The number of discouraged workers, a subset of the marginally attached who believed that no jobs were available, changed little. So nothing really changed. The employment rose by 228,000 in March, higher than the average monthly gain of 158 over the prior 12 months. Okay, great. In March, job gains occurred in healthcare, in social assistance, and in transportation and warehousing. Great. Employment also increased in retail trade, partially reflecting the return of workers from a strike. So, it's the return of some workers. Federal government employment declined. No shit. Healthcare added 54,000 in line with the average monthly gain of 52. So nothing drastically different. Over the month, employment continued to trend up in ambulatory healthcare services. Okay, blah, 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 blah. In March, employment in social assistance increased by 24,000, higher than the average monthly gain of 19,000 over the prior 12 months. Over the month, individual and family services added 22. Retail trade added 24,000 jobs in March as workers returning from a strike contributed to a job gain in food and beverage retailers. General merchandise retailers lost 5,000 jobs. So little change over the year. Employment in transportation and warehousing rose by 23, about double the prior 12-month average of 12,000. In March, job gains in couriers and messengers and truck transportation were partially offset by a job loss in warehousing and storage. So the gain in this one, which was kind of an outlier in transportation, is a growth in couriers and messengers and truck drivers. Within government, federal government employment declined by 4,000 in March following a loss of 11,000 jobs in February. Employees on paid leave or receiving ongoing severance are counted as employed. So if you're on severance or you're still on one of those things, you're still employed. You're still considered employed. Employment showed little change over the month in other major industries, including mining. Blah 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 blah. In March, March average work week. The change. Okay. So I think that's kind of interesting because I'm looking for what's the aberration, right? Like what's the change? And it looks like the biggest change is this. And then people came back from a strike. So I think it's going to be interesting to watch the jobs reports come out each month, again, as part of the bigger picture of what this administration is doing to our daily lives. So, yeah. What's going on, Tammy Faye? Did you get stuck on the toilet or something? What's going down? What's going on? What's going on, girl? Tell us. Tell us what's going on. Anyway, so I find that very interesting. I hope you do too. I really do apologize if it's not interesting. But it's not that I'm a big, preservation of wealth person. I really want people to be okay and be comfortable. But I do think this stuff kind of impacts our daily lives. eventually, or in some way or fashion. And the thing about the movies not being shown in China, it's interesting because I just had this conversation with Bobo yesterday because she brought up that there is a lot of concern about in the film industry right now about this situation, obviously, and realizing that the closing off the Chinese market for American made films actually is going to hurt Hollywood a lot. Because a lot of the it's just it's gonna hurt, and we're in that if that stays the same, which it looks like it might, that's gonna result in people getting fired here in Hollywood. So that's not a good thing. Not a good thing. Probably not Bobo per se. She's in television, which is slightly different, I guess. I don't know. I'd have to think about it, but it could. I'm more worried, there's a lot of trade people that don't make a lot of money in Hollywood too, so I'm not worried about the Hollywood people, like the stars or whatever, but I am worried about the crews and all the people that the film industry employs because, obviously it's just like any other industry that's going to be impacted by this ridiculous financial boondoggle that he's trying to sell us, which is ridiculous. On a brighter note, while we're waiting for Tammy Faye Rumsfeld to get off the toilet, we're gonna have our own Coachella, and I decided to call it Lolo Cella because it's my show, so I get to call it whatever I want. And I'm going to do a DJ session. I don't know when it's going to be. It might not be this weekend, but it might. I don't know. But I want to do like a whole show, but on Discord with a bunch of music I picked and just lights and everything. And so I hope you'll come to Lolo Cella because I think it's going to be great. I think Lolo Cella is going to be really fun, and it'll be a dance party. It'll be all different kinds of music. Let me pick up my Lolo Cella graphic. So I'm really excited about Lolo Cella, and I hope you are too. Because I don't know, but soon. But I have all the trappings. I just need to set up the room the way I want it. And I'm going to do it, I think, on Discord so that we can play whatever music. And yeah, I just want people, and I want to put up the lyrics so that you can also sing along at home if you want to sing along. I remember I had a friend during COVID, and he used to have this public speaking business. And of course, during COVID, he couldn't do anything with the public speaking business. So every Friday, he held karaoke on Zoom at that point. And so all these friends of his and the whole community would come together, and we would just play songs and have the lyrics up, and people would be singing along on the Zoom. It was so cute. I don't know if it's going to be all day, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm really getting it. I'm really going to put this together because I already have all the music really that I want, and I want to play the Gal Squad list too and all that. And we will just have we'll try and make it do a real Coachella. You have to dress up at home like you're going to a festival. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. But wouldn't it be fun? So I'll figure out. I'll also take song requests if you want to tag me. If you want to tag me in Discord or tag me on social media, I will try and keep all of those so that we can add them to Lolo Cella. Wait, I want to show you this. Hold on. I wonder why I can't show you this pic. Oh, wait. Let me try this. Hold on. Dun 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 dun. Na, 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 na. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Here we go. And then I present to you Lolo Cella. Dun, dun, dun. Perfect. I'm glad, Jim, because you're going to need that black belt because you're coming to Lolo Cella. That's right, the first annual Lolo Cella. You don't need any real Coachella. Fuck the dust. Fuck the driving. Fuck the camping. Fuck the mud up your ass. You don't need any of that. You're going to come to Lolo Cella and enjoy it from the comfort of your own home. And I'm going to be on camera as your DJ. And so there'll be fun and frolicking online so you can watch as well as listen, or listen and not watch, or just watch and turn the sound down. I don't care. No one has to mute their mics. Well, they probably should. Because I don't think you can hear. I don't know. It might disturb the hear. I don't know. But I think we're going to have fun. House passed the SAVE Act. Yeah. Damn it. Well, when Mima is asked for her birth certificate at the polling place and is turned around, it's going to be trouble. Well, I guess Tammy Faye is like letting us down. What's her fucking problem? Come on, Tammy Faye Rumsfeld. What's your damage? What's your damage, Tammy Faye Rumsfeld? What? Wait, what? The tariffs on China are now 145%? 145? 145% tariffs on China? What the fuck is happening? Does he... Okay, he actually believes that the more pressure he... Like that's his fucking negotiation tactic? That's his negotiation tactic? Are you kidding me? That's not a negotiation tactic. If you voted for this fucking moron, you should be really, really pissed off because he's fucking you up the ass. Oh, no, he definitely did. No. Jay Rance, yesterday, Hegseth went down and extorted free passage for U.S. military and auxiliary. Lee, that's it. Watch Xi call in the debt that he holds. This is not good. This is not serious. And yet, it's going to have real world implications. I mean, this is just fucking bananas. I don't know why somebody doesn't 25th Amendment this motherfucker. Oh, wait, I know why. Because he's got a bunch of lemmings sitting beside him. Yes, Lee, craft services, wardrobe, all those people. And they work really fucking hard. And I don't want to see any industry decimated, like, frankly. This is not, I'm just saying it does have a, yuck. Come on, Tammy. Get your fucking little bitch ass out there. 100 million, trillion. SB. Welcome, SB. You got it. You made it. It's a no glue kind of day. Yeah, so yesterday, Hegseth went and signed a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, with the defense minister of Panama. And then also some kind of agreement that I didn't hear much about with the canal, whoever runs the canal itself. He was going to meet with him after and then, give us and then sign another agreement. But I didn't really hear. Actually, I should probably look that up because that's important. But the interesting thing that came out of that was that Panama would not charge United States military or auxiliary ships, and that is not in agreement with the treaty from the 70s.
Hi, everybody.
This woman is a cunt.
Wanted to wait for the president, of course, and
she needs to understand what the fuck is going on in this world.
Not that there's anything to say.
Yeah, I know you're being funny and flip. This whole administration is flip.
But someone should tell
while
April
people are
to not think
scared.
that she's February. Somebody's got to check in with her and see what's going on. Thank you all very much for being here. I appreciate it. And let's start with a couple of announcements here, as usual. Of course, I'm Tammy Bruce, your spokesperson for the State Department. To begin, we are pleased to share that American Ksenia Karelina is on her way back to the United States. Ksenia was detained in Russia for more than a year and will soon be reunited with her loved ones. We have not forgotten about all of those who Russia continues to unjustly detain, including American Stephen Hubbard. President Trump's team, at his request, engaged with Russia on Ksenia's case. Secretary Rubio, Special Envoy Witkoff, CIA Director Ratcliffe, National Security Advisor Waltz, and Special Envoy Bowler mobilized their teams to bring her home. We thank the government of the UAE for their support at enabling the exchange. President Trump and Secretary Rubio will continue to work for the release of all unjustly detained Americans. And now to trade. President Trump continues to put American workers first by bringing trading partners around the world to the table with a fresh perspective to achieve reciprocity and fairness. Yesterday, the president showed the promise of his support. More than 75 countries recognize the benefit in working with the United States.
How did that happen,
Negotiations
Tammy?
are now underway. President
Really?
Trump has also been very
Which
clear
ones?
on China. China's decision to retaliate is emblematic of its decades of aggressive and unfair trade policies, and President Trump
He made a deal
has
with
taken
Russia?
appropriate action in response, announcing that the United States tariff on all goods from China has again increased. China's unfair trade practices are hurting not only the United States and our workers, but also market economies around the world. China has actively undermined the world trading order for decades. It is high time to correct that imbalance. President Trump is the first world leader brave enough to do so. Lastly, I want to share a message from Secretary Rubio to the people of the Dominican Republic. As the Secretary said, we are, quote, united in prayer as the people of the Dominican Republic.
We're,
grieve the
quote,
recent
united in
tragedy
prayer. You
that
can't
took
fucking
place
talk like a
in
human
Jet Set
being, you
nightclub
stupid
in
cunt.
Santo Domingo, which also resulted in the unfortunate death of at least one U.S. citizen and U.S. legal permanent residents. While rescue efforts remain ongoing, our hearts go out to the families and loved ones.
She does not
affected
give
by
a
this
shit,
devastating
Jane.
event. The U.S.
She
stands
laughs
ready
at
to
people's
support our
pain.
Dominican allies amid this obviously horrible and difficult time. And now,
If she knows what she's
turning
actually
it over
talking
to
about.
Questions? Where will I begin? Matt Lee with the AP. Hello.
Thank you, ma'am. Two things. I just want to check to make sure that you don't have anything to add either on the release of the American or on the Russia-U.S. talks in Istanbul from the statement. Do you have anything to add on either
I have
of those?
I have a few things I can add because I'm talking and I
Please
can't
do.
shut up. That's my situation here. So obviously we know the situation is that one thing I want to reinforce that I mentioned in my announcement is calling on Russia to release Stephen Hubbard, who has been detained for nearly 3 years. We continue to work to free Mr. Hubbard and all other Americans unjustly detained, and we have not forgotten about all those Russia continues to
We haven't forgotten because
detain
we
in this
never
manner,
knew.
to say the least.
That's right.
To secure Ksenia's
Ooh!
release,
turned
Russian
her down.
national Arthur Petrov, your alarm's going, Arthur Petrov was returned to Russia. And that is all I'll share in that regard. But obviously she is on her way home, and that is what the story is in that regard. And
She is
that's
like one of the
a
worst,
promise
Jane.
President Trump made when he first came into office, was to make sure that all Americans being held around the world would, in fact, be home.
Oh, like the
And
kid
your
he got
other-
killed in
Well,
North
on the,
Korea?
Ukraine,
Oh.
sorry, not Ukraine, the Istanbul meeting between the U.S. and Russia. Presumably this swap did not come up there, but do you have anything to add to what was in the statement that came out earlier?
I do, and let me get that for us.
Cruella de Mar-a-Lago. That's good.
I think we have that right here.
145%, Lee.
Why-
145.
I might have to run right,
Okay, well,
come
then
back
I'll
around
just
to
go to
you.
I'll just go to my last one.
What I can, for those of you not knowing what he's asking about, is a technical meeting in Istanbul regarding the bilateral relations and the embassies for both of us. And that's again, that has happened before. Again, it has nothing to do with Ukraine, nothing to do with expanding our relationship in any fashion in that regard, but really just about the nature of our embassies and the ability to manage them and conduct business as one would normally expect to be able to do so in a diplomatic mission.
Okay, so then to my question that maybe you can answer a little bit on is the departure
Yeah, we're sophisticated like that badge.
From Kyiv. Do you have anything to say about that?
I do. Says Tammy Bruce. Wow. All right.
Sorry, Lee. Yeah, I figured you did.
Just,
You would know.
Discuss this.
Right. Well, we also had discussed something a little bit
yes,
earlier. The blanket
well,
statement that we, the State Department, do not discuss personnel matters.
Well, that is something we've discussed at great length. And in this particular case, Ambassador Brink's been ambassador at the embassy in Ukraine for 3 years, during a time of war for those 3 years. An extraordinary performance there, and we wish her well. At the same time, of course, it's a reminder when it comes to the issues that we think about that surround this conversation, is that we know that we're working for that war to end. And that is our focus. And,
bullshit.
We
Fuck off,
expect,
Tammy.
Of course, our work that will continue in that regard. But that's the nature of what we're focusing on here. And we wish her well. And that's really all we would say in that regard. Yes, Andrea.
Can I follow up a bit? There are several Americans in Russia.
U.S.
that were
ambassador to
identified
Ukraine to
by,
resign her post
Nikki
early.
Bergman and other groups who are active in this regard with trying to get Americans out who are not designated yet as wrongfully detained. And I'm wondering if you could check or take the question as to whether there's any progress on elevating them to the level of wrongfully detained, which could accelerate them getting released. I think that was done by the administration with Mark Fogel. Who for
Right,
quite
I
some
do know,
time had
yes.
not been.
Again, the question about Americans who don't have a designation of being wrongfully detained is that if an American is being held, we are regularly looking at those cases. We're constantly addressing the nature of how they're held, why they're held, and if that designation might change.
Yeah,
So
she
it's
says
not
she's
something we look away
resigning,
from.
but
It's a
there's no
regular
formal
effort.
resignation
And
letter.
so, in the regard of anyone who's not been designated in that fashion, it is
And
something,
Marco
as you've noted,
Rubio
like with Mr.
refused
Fogel,
her
that can
resignation in
change
January.
if circumstances merit it.
And can you give us any details? There's some
Gave her
confusion.
rubles for a
According to her lawyer, she was supposedly, Ksenia was arriving at 4 p.m. There are other reports that it is as late as 9 p.m. Can you give us any clarification about and when if she'll be going to the White House?
I'm going to be
or do you know
honest. I don't give a
anything
shit.
more? And I have one more question.
I have other things that Andrea Mitchell should be asking about.
Should be going to Brooke Army Medical.
Well, clearly, there's still issues of privacy here. I'm not really going to talk about the choices she's made, where specifically she is going, or what the plans are for her involved in that, which are decisions that.
Well, she's going to be paraded in the White
are going
House.
to
We
be
can
made
guarantee
in
you that,
environment
Tammy
and
Faye
with her,
Rumsfeld.
which would not be appropriate to discuss. And certainly, I can't discuss the nature of the negotiations that occurred, which clearly did. But maybe that's for another day.
Negotiating with terrorists. You're right, SB. Whoops.
Can you give us an update on what is expected on Saturday with the Iran talks? Because Foreign Minister Arachi's
Because we're calling bullshit.
In the Washington Post yesterday made it very clear that there would be no talks if the U.S. was insisting that they are direct. And of course, the position, as repeated today in the cabinet meeting, was that they will be direct talks. So do you still expect these talks to take
The
place
cult
on
leader?
Saturday? And will they begin indirect
Tammy
talks and
Aquarian.
then move to direct, or is there some resolution of that?
Well, I'm not on the team that makes
That is her new
decision or
name.
has those conversations, right? And we're not going to litigate that here. As I said on Tuesday, and repeatedly say really about everything, if the president says something, that's my North Star. And they're the ones in the midst of the discussions regarding the arrangement.
What if he
of
says
this
two
meeting,
things?
And we'll leave it to them.
What happens
I'm not
then?
gonna speculate on that or what will happen. There are clearly some very, very good and very important diplomats involved in this, including, of course, Special Envoy Witkoff. And we'll leave it there. We'll find out. At this point, yes, that is still underway. It's happening. And we look forward to it as a good first step to find out if the Iranians are serious. All right, yes, in the back there, yeah.
Thank you. A couple of questions. Just to be super clear, did you
Well,
just...
a little bit, Nadia, please.
Yeah, just to be super clear, did you just confirm the resignation of Ambassador Brink?
I'm sorry?
Did you, Ambassador Brink's resignation, did you just confirm that? Because you wish her well.
Well, she is, she's returning home, yes.
So that's official. Thanks so much. For those of us who have been
She hasn't.
following, this from the
Okay,
beginning,
there might be a
we
little
couldn't
bit of
help but
issue
notice
here.
that Ambassador Brink has been limited with naming Russia, recently, particularly during the past couple of weeks, when it comes to talking about Russian attacks on Ukraine. Was there any instruction, any pressure on her for not naming Russia from this building?
Well, I'm not aware of anything like that. Certainly, I wouldn't speak to anything regarding that, regarding personnel, regarding a diplomat, and the internal dynamics that might occur. So, no, that's not something I'm going to speculate about or guess at or speak to.
Again, my follow-up on Ukraine as well. Tomorrow marks 30 days, 1 month since Ukraine, did basically sign in your ceasefire deal, and Russia refused, has been delaying since then. And as we speak, they keep attacking Kyiv right now. May I get your perspective on that, please?
Well, the perspective, I think everyone understands the perspective, is that President Trump is involved in this. We've got the best diplomats in the world, with certainly being led by Secretary Rubio. All of our leadership, but particularly President Trump and Secretary Rubio in public, have made it clear what's at stake when it comes to the nature of this situation ending. It is a dynamic that will not be solved militarily. It is a meat grinder. There is nothing else can be discussed for the outcome until the shooting and the killing stops.
Oh, Tammy.
Secretary Rubio made
Excited
clear
about
at
that?
NATO in his press conference that we would, in fact, know in a matter of weeks if Russia was serious. And so we'll
tells us they're
take
serious?
him at his word, certainly, as we do. And I think Russia certainly needs to take that seriously.
What?
And we'll play that out. But this is not going to go on for 6
But
months
they've already
or a
broken
year or
whatever.
anything else.
What's going on, Tammy?
The president has also made it clear we want diplomacy. But the fact is that we're watching and judging as this process continues.
What is happening?
Yes, sir.
What are they waiting for?
I wanted to have
They broke
comment,
whatever agreement. Like,
the French president.
oh my
yesterday,
God! I just don't even
said that
understand
he
how
would
people
France
bought
would
this
recognize a
shit.
Palestinian state within
I
months.
can't.
And he suggested that he could do it alongside Saudi Arabia.
She confirmed that in the
UN
last
conference
briefing
in New York,
about the Chinese
in June.
soldiers.
The U.S. has long opposed any unilateral recognition. Is that still your position? Do you have a comment on his,
Well, I can tell you that we are aware of course, the reports that you refer to regarding the French government's
like
remarks, and we refer you to them.
Monday? No, Tuesday.
For further comment.
Tuesdays.
What I can also, though, say is that the United States stands firmly with the state of Israel in its pursuit to bring all the hostages back home and the defeat of Hamas. The groundbreaking Abraham Accords and the devastating October 7th attacks have forever changed the Middle East. As a Special Envoy Witkoff has said, we need to explore new policy prescriptions that ultimately end up in a better life.
What's that
For
mean?
the Gazans and the Palestinians.
What are new policy
Look at the discourse
prescriptions?
that's now happening today, he said. We're actually engaging in a productive conversation around what is best for Gaza.
Really?
And how we can
Are
make
any
people's
Gazans
lives
there?
better. This administration will continue
Oh
to
my
engage
God.
our partners in the
It's
region.
such a fucking
on a
outright lie.
serious solution for Gaza that secures peace and the release of all the hostages, among them 5 Americans, including Idan Alexander.
Terry, can I just follow
What was
up on
that about?
Very
Why are you
quickly.
naming
It's
one
not just about
hostage?
Gaza, there's West Bank also. So, I mean,
Well, these. I think it's fair to say that this is a region that has been in turmoil because of the support of death squads by Iran. And so you have this dynamic that has been continuing and predictable and not stopping, and ceasefires being broken by the same groups. That's why when
Including
we say
the
yes,
Israelis.
new ideas for Gaza, and the new idea
What's the
that
new
could
idea?
break the Gazan people free from being hostages themselves of Hamas is the same kind of
What?
solution that is also going to help the entire region.
Be careful with that word
is it.
solution,
This
honey.
is not an isolated framework that only fits into a corner. This is a solution that is for the region, and our regional partners.
Are any of the actual people that are from there at the table?
The president said that he's open to different ideas. So when the secretary goes with him to Saudi Arabia next month, will that meeting also be expanded to have a Middle Eastern conference whereby the Palestinian issue will be discussed?
Well, I don't know what the plan is when it comes to the content. That is something that we would have to speculate about or guess at, and we really shouldn't do that, obviously, with a multitude of issues facing the region. So it's the details I can't imagine about. It's not something I'm going to do, but
Okay, you said that.
I think that
like fucking two
kind of a
times.
visit, of course, is at the hallmark of President Trump's vision when it comes to his own presidency, but also how to change the course of the Middle East and to make it better for everyone there. So I know that he's looking forward to having
kissing ass at the
conversations,
Saudis?
that surround that aspect.
What does that mean?
Yes, sir.
Iran, just quickly, just follow up.
One more. Go ahead.
Just on the technicality. So is this meeting on Saturday is going to be one-off, or it depends on what has been achieved on Saturday, and will be a direct talk, i.e. in the room, it will be two delegations, the Iranians and Americans, and the Omanis in the middle, or the exchange of conversation will be across the table?
Well, what happens on Saturday would, I suppose, determine whether there's more. Right now, this is a meeting that is arranged.
Okay,
It
yeah,
is
that's
not
fine.
part of some larger
Are they going to be in the
scheme or
same
framework.
room?
It is a meeting to determine whether or not the Iranians are serious.
I think that's the question,
and so
right?
that clearly would be the goal of that singular meeting and
Better
effort.
check the
As far as
tariffs to
the
see if they
arrangements
raised in the
or
last
what
few
the
minutes.
rooms are or who's in which rooms, I don't have that for you, and I'm not going to speculate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tammy,
Yes,
can
sir.
I-
Yes, sir.
Tammy? I just want to go back to your response to Leon, where you said we need to explore new policy prescriptions that ultimately end up in a better life for the Gazans and the Palestinians. Are they one and the same in your mind, or are you disassociating the Gazans from Palestinians?
So I'm talking about the people in the region, the people who live in the Gaza Strip. That's who we're talking about, the people who face a danger every single day because of the nature of what Hamas has done to that region and to that strip of land. I think that no matter who you are and how you identify, the fact is that no human being deserves to remain in that kind of an environment because Iran
actually,
is
no
funding
human
death
being
squads
deserves
that
to
take
be in
over
that
the space
environment
and
facilitated
use
by
you
the
as a
United
human
States
shield.
and Israel,
While it
as
may-
well
while
as
you may become
whatever
inured to that
terrorist
kind of
element
hell,
might exist
and
in the
people
region.
in it generationally become affected and also believe that this is just normal
I think she
life,
doesn't know
that
that
is a
Gazans
crime
and
in and of
Palestinians
itself. And there is
are the same.
The human spirit.
That's what I think.
Is so strong that we do know, especially for those who survived October 7th, those who got out of the hostage framework. One woman whom we honored here at the State Department, who is a survivor of that massacre. The strength in these individuals
all right.
who move through this.
Okay, I get it. I understand. It's absolutely, I do. I understand what she's saying. That's absolutely true. But that's not the question. That is not the question. The question is, what are the plans for this region, and why aren't the Gazans represented? Why aren't the Palestinians represented in the actual conversations about what happens to their land? Because it's not just about a region. It's about people and their existence and ethnic cleansing, which is what this is.
And Secretary Rubio work for every single day. If there is one thing our generations can look to here, is the fact that we, at the very least, seriously
I just think the
try.
trauma in this
And so
woman's
when I
life
refer
has
to
led her
someone
to some really
whatever
terrible
part of the world
decisions.
they're in, that's who I'm referring to. The Israelis, the Arabs, the Egyptians, the Palestinians, people of Gaza.
Whatever you want to say.
Jordan, whomever.
I don't care what you call
This is where we
them.
have to move past is the nature of what keeps us together and what unifies us. Yes. Yeah,
How about-
please, Saeed,
what?
please.
On
go ahead.
that, the
Yes.
UN Secretary General called Gaza
Whoa!
a killing field. He noted
Did you
it's been
see
more than
that?
a month
She
since
shot
Israel has
him a
allowed
look.
aid into Gaza. Are you guys
Bibi's a
pushing
war
Israel
criminal.
to allow humanitarian aid into Gaza, given it has been a month and conditions are incredibly dire? People are dying. And you just mentioned folks need to be able to live.
Sure,
quality
yes, they
life.
do. And when there was, of course, a ceasefire. Aid was flowing into the region. People were getting food and other aid that they needed, including medical aid, because of the ceasefire that allowed
Oh, my
that to move
God.
forward. We, of course, stand by our ally Israel. The ceasefire was abandoned by Hamas. You know, it's not just a feeling, it's a fact of the matter.
No.
That there was a
not.
ceasefire and aid was flowing.
No,
Hamas abandoned
that's
that
not-
ceasefire.
that's not
decided
actually-
That it was,
I don't
know
believe
what
you.
They would decide. But,
I don't believe you.
It's the kind of thing that monsters do.
I don't believe
and
you.
continue to do.
I don't believe you.
Obviously, the work does.
What about the
continue
teenagers
every
who were
single
killed
day
in the West
that
Bank?
region and other regions.
What about the
to
teenagers
stop
who
the
were shot
fighting,
dead in the West Bank,
to
the
make sure
American
that
teenagers?
civilians are protected. That the
What about
next day
them?
that they might still
Does
be
she care about
alive.
them?
So because you might not see something in the news, and I know this is your business, doesn't mean, or you don't see announcements, doesn't mean that that work isn't continuing to regain that ceasefire so that aid can continue, as we also stand by Israel and the nature of what's happening for them and how as they
Just give
still
the
deal
fucking
with,
aid.
The fighting. It's not good for anyone in that region. But yes,
Oh my God.
our work continues to get back to
These
that
people aren't
ceasefire,
human.
to
They're
make
just not
sure that
human.
people can get aid and to survive this, which is the
They're
sole
just so
focus
craven
of all of our efforts for
to
that
this
region.
idol
Can I just quickly
yes, sir,
of
sir,
MAGA.
Please, go ahead, sir. Yes.
With
This
regard
woman
to
is
extradition of
irrational.
Abu Rana, who is
She is
convicted
not
in Mumbai-based
emotionally
attack and
able to
sought
do this
after in
job.
India. He has been transferred to India right now. He landed in India this morning, U.S. time. How does the secretary sees this as a message to the terrorists who are operations from U.S.?
Yes, that we do have an update for you on that. This might be, I want to be able to do this, and Tommy, could you come up here and give me a hand, because something changed up here. And this was something very specific, because we're, because I don't want to speak.
You really are the worst poker player, Tammy.
Tommy Piggott, everyone.
You are so unprofessional.
My principal deputy.
You are so
You'll
unprofessional.
be seeing him soon, briefing you. When I'm unable to brief, Tommy is the one next in line. So
He's
there you go.
12?
Already proving himself. He is. He's a fan favorite with
Oh
with
my
the
fucking
team here in
God.
the building as well. Thank you, sir. All right, so.
Topher.
Good question, sir. On April 9th, the United States extradited Tawar Hussein Rana to India to face justice for his role in planning the horrific 2008 Mumbai terrorist attacks. Some people watching may not remember these, but I encourage you to look them up and to find out exactly how horrible this was and the importance of this situation today.
Why didn't we
These
extradite him
attacks
earlier
resulted
then?
in the tragic loss of 166 lives, including 6 Americans, that shocked the entire world. The United States has long supported India's efforts to ensure those responsible for these attacks are brought to justice. And as President Trump has said, the United States and India will continue to work together to combat the global scourge of terrorism. So it is.
Is there a reason we didn't do it earlier?
Their possession, and we are very proud of that dynamic.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Yes, sir, in the glasses here.
The senior advisor to the
I don't
Iranian
know.
leader, Ali Shamkhani, today
I'm
said
gonna have
that
to look
if
that up.
military threats continue against Iran, Iran will kick out IAEA inspectors and hide its enriched material. What's the U.S. reaction to that?
All right. First of all, these actions, the threat of that kind of action, of course, is inconsistent with Iran's claims of a peaceful nuclear program, right? Also, expelling IAEA inspectors from Iran would be an escalation and a miscalculation on Iran's part. The United States remains deeply concerned that Iran is amassing a growing stockpile of highly enriched uranium for which there is no credible peaceful purpose. Iran is the only non-nuclear weapon state producing highly enriched uranium at this level. Also, beyond the threat to expel the international
There's some
nuclear
background.
inspectors, but also threatening to transfer its stock of uranium to secret locations. And again, why would one need to do that if it was for peaceful energy work? Doesn't make much sense. So again, it is an escalation and a miscalculation on Iran's part if they were to do so. All right. Yes, go ahead. And then you afterwards.
Sorry.
You next. Go ahead.
Yes,
Wait 1 second, Eric. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I have a quick question about a Wall Street Journal report.
Oh,
They're saying
wow.
that Chinese officials acknowledged in a secret meeting last December that they were behind a widespread series of cyber attacks on American infrastructure, and they linked the attacks to escalation over Taiwan. Just wanted to ask you if Chinese officials have made any kind of similar statements to this administration, or if this administration was briefed on that apparent admission during the transition.
That is a good question, and we're going to have to take that away and get that back to you. When I do that, by the way, for people watching, we really actually do get back to the reporters with the answer to their questions. So that's a genuine framework we ask. All right, Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Tammy. I'd like to ask about some reporting that we have today that Israeli officials are laying the groundwork for a full military occupation of Gaza, and whether this is something that's concerning to the State Department, whether it's seen as any kind of an overreach or anything that would further inflame the situation in the Middle East right now.
Well, it's clear that President Trump has explained his goals here when it comes to the nature of a diplomatic solution and to ending the fighting. But of course, on any other issue, I'm not going to discuss what another country might be contemplating or its separate diplomatic conversations or considerations it may have. So you want me to speculate or hypothesize? I'm not going to do that. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Tammy. I just want to switch to Afghanistan. Are you aware of the case of a British couple, Peter and Barbie Reynolds, who are still detained by the Taliban? They were taken at the same time as the American Faye Hall, who is a friend of that couple, who, as you know, was released a couple of weeks ago. They are British, but they have American children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren who have given an appeal via video, which they've posted online, which we at CBS we've reported about, appealing to Trump for help in being able to release their parents. I was wondering if you are aware of whether there was any effort to coordinate between the US and the British governments to get all of them out at once, and if there has been any outreach to offer to help with the US helping to get their release from Taliban custody since.
Well, we're aware of the reports. I would suggest, I don't know if you've checked with the British government. I think they would have the most specific actions if they're being taken for their citizens.
So that's a no, ma'am.
That's all I have for you.
That's a no.
One on to the Taliban as well, relatedly.
Sure.
There were reports a few days after that visit by former envoy for Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, and the special government employee Adam Bola, when they visited Kabul in March. A few days after that, and American George Glasman was released, a few days after that, the bounties on senior Taliban officials' heads were lifted. Did the US government lift bounties on Taliban officials in order to get Americans out? Is that something you're aware of, and do you have any comment?
I know that this, I think you'd asked this once before. What I can tell you is that those frameworks are always being looked at and dealt with.
What?
I can't speak to any kind of exchange in that regard. We do
The
know
secretary
that.
did tweet about it as well. He did tweet about George Glasman and had mentioned that the Taliban, that they shouldn't be doing this. And so I was just wondering if the two were
Well,
connected.
they're still, these are individuals who are designated terrorists. The groups remain designated terrorist groups.
Oh, Tammy, be
None
careful.
of that has changed. And that's what I can
Check
tell
your
you.
facts,
That's, I think,
Tam.
The story here is that none of that has changed.
Tammy
Yes, sir.
Aquarius.
Thank you, Tammy. Appreciate it.
Tammy
Relative to
Aquarium.
the Iran talks, meeting, friendly chat, whatever.
It's a
gonna be
meeting.
on-
It's just a
it's
meeting.
on
Yes. I
Saturday.
don't know if it'll be friendly. It'll be a meeting, an important one.
I want to go back to an older story that's kind of petered out a little bit. A former special envoy for Iran, Rob Malley, was suspended and had his security clearance revoked as a result of some alleged violations of security processes. Republicans were screaming about getting documents from the State Department in an update, and then January rolled around and Republicans kind of went silent on the issue. I'm trying to find out if the State Department can provide any update or commit to providing any update on that scenario.
Well, I can get you an update once we take it back and look for that update.
Thank you. I appreciate
I'll get that to you for sure.
What about the
Yes,
State
ma'am.
Department guy that got arrested in Belgium?
I have two questions on North Korea. First question, North Korea and Kim Jong-un
What about that?
recently said that the U.S. and South
She call her
Korea
honey?
and the Japan's efforts to denuclearize North Korea are nonsense. Does the U.S. believe that North Korea must completely denuclearize? Second question, President Trump has mentioned that North Korea is a nuclear state. Will the State Department formally recognize North Korea as a
Safe
nuclear
travels,
state?
darling.
Thank you.
Have a good
Well, I would say
one.
for questions about
See you
what
tomorrow
President Trump
morning.
might do, you must check with the White House. We do know, of course, that the administration has made it clear that North Korea has to be a denuclearized state. So that's the only thing that's acceptable in that regard. Yes, please.
Just a couple of questions coming back to the Russia prisoner swap. I'm wondering, this swap that
Hostess.
happened,
Is Tammy the hostess at the stand at the
today,
Applebee's?
How do you see that as connected to the talks? You know, is this a positive sign for Russia's willingness to make concessions when it comes to Ukraine?
You know, I think that the president's been very clear that there's one thing on the table with Russia, which is the ceasefire.
Yeah.
That there's no other dynamic that's going to be addressed or facilitated until that is dealt with. The president did make a few comments at his cabinet meeting regarding the situation.
Excellent follow-up
and
question,
how it was
Oomph.
brought to his attention.
Righteous.
And the fact that he pledged, again, this is not a lark on his behalf. This was a pledge that he's made throughout the campaign and has been a hallmark of his administration, and he's acted on that. In this particular case, it happens to be this young woman who comes back. I think that, you know, as especially also with Stephen Hubbard still being detained there, it's clear that this is an ongoing framework. Regardless, we're not going to choose or not choose a country based on a circumstance. The president's going to act on Americans who need to be freed.
And on the Russian who was released in the swap, Arthur
Petrov,
yeah. So he was detained and extradited from Cyprus, I believe, related to rules that the previous administration had imposed on Russia, which were about making sure that the Russians didn't get access to U.S. microelectronics for their military programs, right? So the fact that you've released this guy who was detained for breaching that, does
well,
that
he was returned to
signal-
Russia. He wasn't
Okay, well,
released
he's
into
been-
the wild.
Does-
He
but
was
does that signal
returned to
some-
Russia.
Does that signal some softening of the U.S.
Well, yeah,
restrictions
the
on
Biden
Russian
administration hadn't talked to Russia at all. I mean, President Trump
Oh
is the
my
first
God,
to engage with
Tammy.
Russia for years. So
Tammy.
when we think about the nature
You
of
stop.
either administration,
You bitch.
this is about leadership. It transcends partisanship. It's about how do you conduct your business to get things
I
done.
wonder if
Do you just simply
she's
not talk
aware
to
of
people and
his
turn a blind eye
long
and do
relationship
nothing?
with the
Or do you
Russians,
engage,
or if
when
that's
it
just
comes
a
to
passing.
stopping the carnage, stopping wars,
Oh, no.
getting people released from being unjustly held, or just even getting Americans back home, you've got to engage with people to do this. And Secretary Rubio's made it very clear, is that when they've asked if he trusted Putin as an example, he talked about that it's in this dynamic you have to deal with what people do and what they don't do. That trust really isn't the issue. It's about expectations, what people are supposed to do, and whether they do them or not. And
what expectations have we laid out for Russia?
With everyone, if you want to get results. And I think that that's what we have in this administration.
Yeah,
and we see it every day, including today and with her release. And we'll see it on Saturday. We'll see it constantly from both Secretary Rubio and President Trump.
Trust but verify,
as we work to
Tammy.
make the world a better place. And that is it for today.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Next Tuesday, I will see you then. Someday you.
I don't even care what you're going to say, you stupid bitch. Stupid, stupid, stupid bitch. Yes, her administrative bureaucraties lexicon is deficient. Yeah, see you next Tuesday, cunt. Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. I like girls. No. I don't know what to say. This has been a day of ups and downs and ins and outs. And a day when you really feel abused by the news. I feel abused by the news. How about yous? I do. I feel very, very abused. So I think, is it sunny out? Is it even sunny out? I think I'm going to go sit outside. Oh, you made a resistance Facebook group for your county. Oh, fuck yeah. Way to go, Paul J. Way to go. Way to put it out there, babes. Way to go. I'm proud of you. What a great idea. Thank you, Paul J. That's really cool. Well, Biden didn't negotiate with terrorists at all, but Mr. Trump does. That's what I think she said. Yeah, I think you got it right, SB. Oops. You got it right. Oh, too many dicks. There it is. You got it right, SB. You named it. And then this is for Paul. Good job, Paul. You get a little music for setting up a Facebook group and get that resistance going. I love it. Anyway, thank all of you. Thank you so much for putting up through all the frickin' nonsense. The frickin' frackum. Thank you so much. What a great, it's been a great morning. I think just the chat has been on fucking fire. And yeah, we had to watch some bullshit, but we did it. We did it. Trump got caught censoring White House press poll reports. Oh, yeah, they lost that big case to the AP. The court found that how did they put it? Because they put it really well. The court found that the president what was the word they used? Something like prevented or killed the First Amendment rights of the petitioner or whatever. Yeah, go get that first hour of in your ear. I know, right, butterflies? I feel abused by the news. I just feel so abused. And I know it's on. I mean, I know it's the way they designed it. You know, something that was said during the many hours that we've watched things together today was, "Oh, we have these lawsuits already written up." Wait, what was discrimination? It was viewpoint discrimination, I think. Oh, wait, I can't remember. Oh, yes, viewpoint discrimination. But I thought that they said there was one headline that was reading specifically about something, their First Amendment rights. Melania's canceled. Why? I would think she loves that shit. I would think she really loves that, no? All right. Access to information that other agencies always get. Yeah. Yes, there you go. But the press is protected by the Constitution, yeah. Well, I mean, aren't we all? I guess. I don't know. But yeah, okay, so tomorrow morning, Fucked Financial Fridays is here finally, everybody. Yay. Yay. So Fucked Financial Fridays is tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m., 9:30 a.m., everything in between and outside of that. And Lolo Cella is coming to a Discord near you. Also, oh my God, so much is happening. Busy bees. On Friday night, of course, we have Fucked Up Friday movies. Fuck It All Fridays at the Discord. So we have movies coming tomorrow night on Discord. We've got Fucked Financial Fridays in the morning tomorrow morning. God knows when Lolo Cella could just appear on your Discord. I don't know. Tomorrow is a very special edition of Fucked Financial Fridays because we're going to go over the Mar-a-Lago Accord because Lolo is obsessed with it. And since it's her name on the show, we're going to talk about it. And probably do some other fun stuff too. Who knows? You don't know. You don't know. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for enduring all the technical difficulties as we always have. I really appreciate it. I love you all so much. 6:30 a.m. usual time, same old shit. Same old shit, just Fridays. 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, all the other stuff. Thank you for doing that. I have no idea what it is. And I will see you later.